and hopefully there's going to be fireworks with him on the back of Killer for this P5 position. Another pun brought to you by James Head. Cyril there from the back of Chill as well. This is QVR against LOE, and this is the battle that Jess is going to be very much watching as Killer and Tony are side by side through the left-hand return number 9. Cyril there on the back of Chill, not getting quite close enough to the back, and I think he's going to remain in position, as has Killer on the back of Tony as well. He's there in P5, Tony there in P6 as well, and actually Chill goes for a spin. Typically, as I'm right on board with him, Chill goes for a spin, and now Cyril's miles ahead.
You're cursing him. The guys at QBR are not gonna like you at all. I haven't even said anything, so they can't blame me.
They don't really like me to begin with anyway, so I don't think it'll make a difference, to be honest.
Exactly. As Chill spun again.
Yeah, how many... Well, I would say take a shot.
And another one.
I would say take a shot for how many times Chill spins in this race, but you'll probably be drunk by the end of it. He's down at the back. Yeah, he's actually down at the back of the field. He's not been lapped, I don't think. Yeah, he's down at the back of the field.
He's not. Okay, he's not. It's a bit confusing. Oh, God. It's too early to do donuts, Chill.
Terrible. Oh, as that Tootie really gets close to the back of Tony there into the right-hander of turn number 9, what used to be turn number 9, but now turn 6 and 7. Tootie rightly close to the back of Tony. Don't think anyone's going to make the move done down the straight here into the left-hander of turn number 9 once again. Old school, by the way. I'm gonna take a swig of my post-shift beer every time he spins now. He's just spun again.
There was another one. And another one.
There's another.
That's free. That's free, Mark.
The question now is, how many beers is Mark going to have by the end of this race? And judging by how many times
he's had some already for commentary this morning.
He has. He had a glass of wine earlier on. He had a glass of wine at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Alcoholic.
Well, to be fair, he's been so busy with this 24 hour in terms of comms and racing that he deserves a drink. But,
he does. He does deserve a drink indeed. Yeah, Chill down on 18th. He hasn't spun yet. Probably will spin coming out of turn number 7. But he's fine through there. As Tony right on the back of Kill. The other Mercedes now under pressure. The QVR man, of course, Division 2 champion in League of Europe. Tony now on the back of him, on the outside line, and I think Killer's just going to let him go here. Tony through and he's into 5th. Quite easy indeed. Killer there in 2nd. And Tootie really closing up to the back there of Killer. Of course, VSR looking to try and reclaim positions of the yellow flag in Sector 3. And that again is Chill. Hopefully he's got that new beer by now as Mark. As now Killer's coming back at Tony in towards turn number 9. And look at the straight line speed that Killer has got compared to Tony. Very easy indeed. Killer through and he's into 5th. Tony in 6th.
There we go. So Killer's fighting back. It shows how quickly he's delivered in terms of his comeback at the moment. He's oh God. We won't talk about that. By the way, the gap between himself and Connor is 9 seconds. As we saw Chill spinning in the background.
And Menno's in. Menno into the pit lane a little bit earlier than what I was expecting. I was expecting around lap 13, 14. But drivers are in. Killer, Tony, Tootie, Maledictus all into the pit lane as well. This will be for a set of mediums, and then I can only assume they're going to go mediums, and then they're going to go for another set of softs towards the end, because there's no real of the strategy, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they can do 2 soft stints if they want to, but it is pushing it, so 2 mediums, 1 soft I think will be the way to go here. But I think that's why people are pitting early, to be honest. Otherwise, they would have had to stretch the mediums out for that long. Oh. And Chill is out of the race. He's retired in the pits. Chill, boo. Boo.
I think that's probably to avoid Mark getting drunk rather than anything else, but that is a retirement from Chill down in P18. He leaves the session in absolute disgrace for his team as well. He's down there in P18, obviously not going to be picking up points as Tony tries to get the weave on down the straight, weaving very aggressively, I've got to say. He's losing a lot of speed to Tootie, and if he's not careful, Tootie might have him down the next straight because he's out of DRS range now, Tony compared to Tootie, which is going to be very stressful for me in commentary because it's not like a block and Brock situation. It is Tony and Tootie, which is similar anyways, and Tony is not going to get the job done. Killer closer to the inside of Luke. Division 2 against Division 3 champions and LOE now going at it through the left-hand return number 9. on the inside line. Killer's got the fresher tyres, got the fresher speed, should have the job done. He does have the job done. Killer through and he's into P8 very easily indeed.
Yeah, good move from Killer so far. Don't forget he has stopped, whereas the likes of obviously the guys in front of them have not stopped yet. But speaking of that, Blocks and Slash are in for their first stops as well. Lex is in as well, so we start to see the order improve just a little bit. Yellow flag.
I think Matt has just crashed in the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken.
He might have done, but he's back in the pits at least, so we'll keep an eye on his car. Has he got damage?
No.
Not any noticeable damage from the Ferrari car, but he's going to drop quite a bit.
Unless it's for Cyril that spun. Cyril spun coming to the right-hander of 15, so might have been for that potentially.
Might have been him, yeah. I don't know. I really don't know at this point, but Max is going to come out ahead of him anyway.
Answers on a postcard, please. I think that's what we'll definitely say. Slash on the back of Maledictus. Olimpo against Relentless. And now the Relentless man right on the back. Into the left-hander of 6 and 7. Mark, by the way, also saying in the chat, he saved me a trip to the off-licence. Which I totally agree. I don't think you should be going to the off-licence anyways. At what? 10:30 on a Sunday morning. But it's Sunday. We can live with it. Colin Mason as well on the back of Maledictus. Looking quite close as well on the back of Slash. Corner, though, into the pit lane from the race lead. Now, Menno, trying to do the undercut. 2 laps of undercut around here can lead to around an 8 to 9 tenth advantage at the end of this pit stop. Beautiful camera, by the way, with Menno as we ride through the right-hander of turn 15. Didn't even see him. It was just a wall. As Menno now comes through the right-hander of turn 15. Connor, not out of his pit box just yet. Menno fastest lap of the race. This is going to be close on the race exit here. And I think Menno has done that undercut to perfection. And he has got ahead by around that 8, 9, 10th gap. Maybe even a bit more, actually, coming out the pits. Menno is ahead. Probably around about 1.5 to 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds, the gap between Menno and Connor. Undercut has worked to perfection, and now Humberger are in the favourites position out on track, but Connor is very quick around here, so watch out, Menno.
Yeah, watch out, because we don't want James's prediction to be wrong, because he would probably put his head in the corner and you know, not going to say anything more, but yeah, Connor's still in second, but I think it's going to be very, very... I've not been expecting the Hassel to be 1 and 2 right now. Oh, there's something going on. Hold on, let me get back to interval. 2D as well, right on the back of Luke and Tony as well. Not where he wants to be, ideally, but he's going to try and get past Luke in that Williams, heading towards turn number 9 then. So what can he do? To the right-hand side he goes, and he goes to the left. Not much space. Luke goes to the middle, which is fair enough. Opportunity goes to the left, maybe. He thinks about it. He can see in front of him that Luke is running out of hers. So I don't get why he wasn't going for the move. I'm guessing he's saving his ERS for a little bit later on as well. So, yeah, by the way, massive shout out to 77 of you watching at 25 to 11 in the morning, let's just say. And massive shout out to those of you that have been up since the very start. So yeah, massive shout out to you guys. So I don't know how you're doing it, because I would have struggled if I'd done that. But yeah, Tootie's on the attack again.
Yeah, Tootie is indeed on the attack again. He's right on the back of Luke. But what I'm liking about Tootie, he's been DRS usage. He's got around 40%. He's going to have him for chips any single move around this track. He's going to have him probably now down the straight. And look at the straight line speed. Tootie just in a different league down the straight. Luke is now washed in the background, and Tootie now into 7th. Luke there down into 8th. And Tootie, as I say, being very consummate with his ERS usage. And if he's making moves, he's picking out his moves there and then, and that's what I like about Tootie. And he's just not really putting any pressure on himself, not putting any pressure on the tyres. He's just getting nicely into this. I honestly say, do not rule him out of a top 4 finish here, because Tootie very quick, Slash also very quick as he goes around the outside of turn number 9 at Maledictus and gets the job done.
Very nice from Slash there. That was very well timed as well. I'm very brave. I would have been able to have done that as well. I believe everybody has done their first stop, so it won't be that long, I think, before some of these drivers will go and do a 2-stop. I'm gonna put you on the spot there, James. Which team do you think will pull the trigger first and go into the pits for their second stop? Well, it's not gonna be Luke.
Crash out the final corner. Luke on the pit lane entry on the right-hand side. He spun on the outside curb. I think it's so difficult, that curb. Once you get corner, you get beach, you go on the wall on the right-hand side. That's exactly what Luke has done. He's out of the race. No safety car, of course, on for any of the races here in the 24 hours, apart from Portimao, where I think the lobby host might be getting kicked as a result of that. But if I was anybody, I'd probably say Killer. I would say Killer there in P5. He's 1.6. Yeah, he's 1.6 seconds off the back of Fish. He's got good pace, but he doesn't seem like he's got the comparison to Fish. And I mean, Fish is on 2-lap younger tyres than him. So Killer ideally has got to try and put in 2 or 3 laps earlier than Fish to try and counteract him a little bit later on in the race. So if I was him, I'd honestly say Killer, P5, will probably be one of the first to pit in.
Yep, he would, as Chalkers and Matt's having a battle in the background, heading towards this back straight as well. Oh, that was a bit of de-sync on my end, I think, between the two of them, because there was a bit of contact for the two of them as well, but both of them made their stops. Matt past Chalkers, up to 13th position as well. Not where he wants to be, but still a long way to go in this race. Not everyone has done their second stops yet as well, as Tony catching up to the back of Killer once again. Fish staying there in 4th position at the moment. No big movers and shakers at the front, to be honest, and that's not good if you're VSR, who wants to be near the top. But I'm trying to predict when the championship could be decided. I hope we could go down to the final race, because that could be quite exciting, to say the least. But for VSR's sake, they want to get it sorted ASAP.
Yeah, definitely so. I had a bit of an issue there on my end on the stream. I think it's all fixed itself now. Menno, Connor still leading the way. Connor, though, was applying a lot of pressure to the back of Menno. It said, apparently, that my network player had crashed and I had to reload it. I think everything is fine. Hopefully everything is fine. Hopefully you can still all hear us and see us. Menno leads the way, Connor in second, Little Blocks in third. These two now, though, the Haas about to go to war, I think, here in Abu Dhabi. Connor right on the back of Menno. He's only gained one position off the start. Menno has gained 5. He's obviously on the fresher tyres, Connor, compared to Menno. He's still got that over-exaggeration, I think, of that fuel. And that fuel, he's going to have to lift and coast towards the end of the race to try and conserve that, because he's probably in around, I would say, under a litre's worth of fuel, and that is not good news. You have to be over a litre of fuel to try and get at the end of the final lap. But Connor applying that pressure to Menno, leading the way. Little Blocks there in third, Fish there in fourth. There is a spinner, and I think that's Colin Mason round.
Colin is round penultimate corner. That's going to allow potentially Lit to gain a position. No, he's not going to gain a position, but he's going to have a battle for a bit. But let's carry on with this battle for the lead, because Menno and Connor, looks like this could be a DRS tactic fest between the Haas teammates. As Connor, what could he do? Switch back galore here in Abu Dhabi. Connor makes the first move. He's not going to get a DRS though, heading through this next back straight. It's all Menno now, and Menno's looking very racy right now, but he's got less ERS than Connor. So Connor has the advantage as he heads towards turn number 9. And Connor is still in the lead of Menno in second. A Haas 1-2. I kind of wish we see this in real life. Maybe next year with Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, maybe. No, it's not going to happen, is it? Unless they produce a car right out the gates that remind me of Brawl GP in 2009. But yeah, there we go. Colin, by the way, has done his 2 stops. The only man to have done so thus far. Everyone else still yet to stop.
Oh. Huge snap of oversteer from Menno. I think that might have been more of a lag spike than anything, but that was a huge snap of oversteer coming out the final corner. Connor, though, has now got the lead. He's got the pace as well, and if I was in Connor's shoes, I'd be applying the pressure to Menno behind me rather than in front, because he can easily break Menno outside of a second. Connor has got significant pace over Menno at this stage, and that is now, I think, the deciding factor. Is Connor going to try and just latch on, basically, to that second and try and get him outside of that second? Or is now the battle going to be Menno trying to catch back up? I mean, Menno is having to use his DRS. There's another spinner. I think that's Charlie Harris in the pit lane. And also, I think, an AlphaTauri of Who's that AlphaTauri? Maledictus, who I think has spun there for Olimpo. Tony and Killer Blue, by the way, still going down and towards P5 and P6, down and towards 6 and 7. And Killer there in 5th, Tony there in 6th. And now Tony's going to have a real great run now at Killer on the run down and towards turn number 9 once again. And Tony on the outside line. He'll have to go back this the hard way. Right around the outside, Killer using up that excess amount of EOS that he does have. On the inside line through turn number 9, getting hung out to dry, Tony, but he might just have the traction on the outside line. Now they're side by side in towards 10, 11 and 12. The triple right-hander. Killer on the outside line. Tony, though, absolutely brilliantly defends, and Tony there gets the position, gets the job done. That's racing around Abu Dhabi. Tony Thuni's into 5th.
They don't want to squabble too much, though, because they've got 2D catching up as well from VSR, so they really... Well, Killer's got to make the move on ASAP, really, but this is very good racing between the both of them anyway, so I'd just like to say, keep this up, but who will pull the trigger first out of the two of them for the pit stops? Maybe Killer, because he's right in the middle of this, once 2D catches up to the guys, but we'll obviously have to wait and see. We'll see if the undercut or the overcut is powerful at the moment. Round number 4, I would say, for Menno and Connor, but Connor has the upper hand at the moment. No penalties for the top 2. It is a bit even Steve's between a pair of them as well. But the danger is, and we haven't seen much of it in this 24-hour, but the danger of it, you don't know what your other teammate is doing. It's not like they're in the same esports team or event team. You got to pretty much guess what the other team does, because if you end up double stacking, it can cost your team, it can cost the other team, and you won't be happy families at the end of that race. So, I don't know what these two will do now, but a very interesting situation is about to develop.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think, honestly, Connor, if I was in his shoes and if I was the NSX team manager, a.k.a. team NSX Montana, I'd honestly get him outside of a second, because Menno, he does have pace, but Connor's got 10% more ERS, and I think he's willing on Menno to just use a little bit of that up. He's basically trying to say, catch me if you can, as Menno was lagging all over the place, down and towards turn number 1. Hopefully
it's not just me.
Yeah, hopefully no sign of things to come in the lobby. I know Abu Dhabi on this game has certainly had issues. I know in WR we did have issues on the PS platform anyways. So if that's anything to go by, we might be experiencing the same once again. But Connor now, because of that lag spike, is now a second clear of Menno. Menno is just within DRS range, but now Connor has got to alight that ERS, and he's got to use that up to really good. And I mean, look at the straight line speed. Even in the straight line, he's putting away down the straight. That is why I think, as Fish is now getting the job done on nickel blocks, that is why I think Connor needed to get him outside of a second. There's always going to be that threat if he comes in 2 laps earlier, that Menno could try and undercut him again. But Connor is going to be on the fresh tyres, so it's basically, he's got the trump card over Menno.
We have an update for the standings after round 19, which was Spain, I believe. So, Visual Esports are leading, 337. Team Hamburger, 329. So as it stands, I think Hamburger will go into Saudi with the lead of the championship. I might be wrong. So 2D will need to get a move on as soon as he can. NXX in 3rd as well. So they VSR may jump. No, NXX might jump VSR, but I don't know. Relentless in 4th on 301. QBR on 288. LRE also on 268, but they'll drop down, I think, due to them not racing. SF1 out on 267 and 7th. Contest and Speed Esports on 239. Olimpo in 9th on 211. Humble Squad then on 210. CSL 195. Bottle Job Racing 195. Cone Racing League 182. Hasbullah's Devoted Disciples 178. ERT on 159. IRT on 156. Esports Wales on 138, QRT on 117, but they haven't shown up for 5 races, so don't know what's going to happen there. 4S 114, and League of Europe have the wooden spoon at the moment with 76 points. So those are your standings. And James, we now have people coming to the pitch just now.
We have indeed, yeah. Tony into the pit lane, interestingly, for a set of soft compound attire. That, my friend, is way too early for a set of softs around here. They go off like a light, and honestly, he can warm up as much of his tyres. He is not getting those tyres, I don't think, in any exaggeration, to the end of that race. He will. It won't be in puncture territory, but it'll be awfully close to. As Connor still leads the way. 1.8 seconds. He's got the pace. Does he afford the pit stop? No. Does Menno come in? No. They continue on for another lap at this stage. Fish there in third. Little Blocks there in fourth. They're continuing on as well, and they're going to that set of soft compound size as we mentioned a little bit earlier on. Mark, by the way, I think has put a message in the wrong chat, and now it's in the information chat.
Everyone's laughing at that.
Rather than the admin chat, I think he's put in the information chat, which is terrible. But yeah, Visceral as it stands, 337. Slash, by the way, is into the pit lane. Humberger there, 329. As it stands, with Menno being second, and
Connor being first.
Yeah, Connor being first, Menno being second. I don't think NSX will take the lead. I think Humberger
will, I think. I'm not rubbish. I'm rubbish at math.
7 points, I think they're going to be gaining. So that means, actually, Visceral will still lead by 1 point.
Oh.
As it stands. But remember, still pit stops to happen, as Slash has came in the pit stops, and he's coming pretty much side by side, actually, with Licks coming out the pit lane. Licks on the outside line is going to try and do the Verstappen sort of move down the inside line there. Doesn't, and Slash is now let go, and Slash there in P9 for Team Relentless. They're still in the championship fight as well. They're still in the top 5, of course, coming into the event. Connor, though, leads the way. Menno in second. Connor now has got significant pace over Menno. About half a second a lap he's pulling out, and Connor looking impressive. And honestly, if I was him, I'd pull the trigger first.
Yeah, I would do that as well, because you have the advantage thus far, and Connor's like, nope, you're not going to get me to pull the trigger first. Fish, is he going to pull the trigger? No. Echo Blocks, no. Killer?
Nope.
No.
2D's in.
What? 2D's in for VSR? Oh no!
What? How is that a 3-second penalty? He cut the inside of the pit lane.
That's harsh, come on.
That surely got to get removed.
Surely that can get removed.
If that doesn't get removed, if that doesn't get removed, I hope Mark's got another beer coming his way. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, he's left the session.
He's left the session.
He's left the session. It goes from bad to worse for Visceral. In the pit lane, he's gone into a set of soft compound tires, which is fine, but he's lagged out coming out the pit lane. And 2D now, all of a sudden, is 9th. Rejoice for the NSX team, rejoice for Humberger, and even rejoice for the likes of course, Relentless, who are further up the field as well. Connor leads the way, 3.2 seconds. Menno now is struggling, and he's getting caught by Fish rather quickly indeed. So if I was in Menno's shoes, I'd have to come in the pit lane this lap, no shadow of a doubt, because he'll have Fish Little Blocks on him in 2 laps.
I've just given 2D an invite, by the way, because I have him as a friend from the first race, so yeah, hopefully he can join very, very soon, because that is annoying that he lagged out a little bit, but
Menno's in.
Yeah, Menno is in then, so he's pulled the trigger first then out of himself and Connor. Fish is in. Pretty much everybody's going to go in by the looks of things. Killer, yep, he's in. Tony and Slash have already done their stops. Pretty much a majority of drivers have done their 2-stop already. Killer, 5 second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah. Bit of a weird one. I think he didn't really overspeed, I think, coming out of the pit, and I didn't actually ride on board with him coming in the pits, but I don't think he's actually gone over the limit whatsoever there. So Killer there in 6th. He's still doing a good job. Tony, by the way, is now involved in this battle for P2, maybe even for the race lead, because it looks as if Menno, on that set of softs, if he can get those tyres absolutely warmed up to the 9s, Fish and Little Blocks are going to be trying to chase him down. Fish, by the way, is outside of DRS range on the run down and towards turn 6 and 7, so he's got absolutely no chance. This is all now dependent on Menno. Connor is coming around the Marina Bay, the Marina section, coming through turn number 12 now. This is going to be close. 23.1 seconds. Menno can gain another second on this lap. I think Connor's in trouble.
Yeah, I think Connor's in trouble at the moment. If he doesn't come in now...
He's in.
He's in now, but I think he's lost a lot of time to begin with. So
actually,
he is in.
I'm wrong.
Bother.
He was 3.5 seconds ahead coming in the pit stops. Actually, Connor might have only lost about a second here. So Connor, I think, is still going to be ahead. Pardon me, I'm getting all over the place.
But he's coming in anyway. At least the double stacking didn't happen, though. That is one thing I think we're very relieved about at the moment. And
he's miles ahead.
miles ahead, yeah.
It's going to be about 3 seconds.
3 seconds. Wow, this could be huge for NSX Tongue Twister. Charlie Harris and Colin were having a little bit of a battle, by the way, for P10, but Colin will get P10 anyway due to the amount of penalties. Slash will gain a bit, I think, due to penalties as well. Only a few drivers yet to pick up penalties, which is great to see coming into the final few rounds of this championship. I think if they want to win the championship, the top 3 teams or the top 5 teams, they've got to hopefully they put their fastest drivers in for the final 2 rounds, because otherwise they could be in a spot of bother. So if they got their fastest drivers waiting in the wings, and you still got some swaps left, if I were you, I would get them in for the final 2 rounds, I would say. But if you haven't got swaps, then let's just hope you have got swaps there to use. But we'll see anyway as we head towards the latter stages of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Saudi up next, and then we got Bahrain, and then that'll be it. So, yeah, it's been quite busy, to be honest, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So let's hope we can keep this up for the final 2 and a bit hours.
Tell you what, man, if we can get Saudi Arabia going pretty swift, we might be on to finish by 1 o'clock potentially, which would be really good because A, I need my lunch, and B,
Same.
I'm very, very hungry at this stage. Connor leads the way, 1.4 seconds over Menno. Fish there in third, Little Blocks in fourth. Tony just does not have the pace there in fifth. Killer sets the new fastest lap of the race as well. Slash there in behind in seventh. Nothing really happening now in this race. I think Connor has produced that trump card over Menno. He's put it in obviously a lap later than him. Menno's tyres are going to be warm, but Connor's just got significant pace. And I mean, look at his ERS, 60% of ERS. Menno's on 20%, already 2 seconds the gap. This now is looking like Connor for the race win, and this is actually looking like a James Head prediction actually going right for once.
Oh God, you said it now. You said it now, James. Just watch it all go down to shreds. I hope it doesn't go down to shreds, because otherwise James is going to kill me. But yeah, Connor's he's set purple sector 2 right now. He's absolutely flying. Could this be the turning of the tables for NXX? Could this be the race where the momentum could slide in NXX's favour?
I think it will. I think it will. Connor's obviously outperforming as there's the yellow flag. I think that's Max. That's round coming through. How's he crashed there? Coming through just before turn number 5. Weird. Unless he's gone left, right, and then he's just spun. Answers on the postcard, please, for that one. But Connor's just got significant pace. And look at that, 24.3. I think Killer was a 25.2 or 25.3. So Connor's just gone a second quicker than Killer. And he's on the same lap time. And oh my God, he had a huge moment coming out of turn number 1.
And I just saw him coming to blows with a safety car, which you can't see.
No, luckily I can't. Luckily I can't, because otherwise I think I'll be raging at this point.
I've suffered so many glitches and things happening in the 24 hours, which made me go, ugh. But, yeah. Luckily, we've only got a few more races yet to go anyway of this 24 hour anyway, and, yeah, I hope they're just exciting as this at the moment. Finley at the moment is the one with the wooden spoon in P16, but at least he's still going. As Finley gets another 3 seconds time penalty. Fish, by the way, looking to try and get past Menno for P2. This could be championship deciding for Hamburger if they let Fish pass. As Charlie Harris gets past the ghost of 2D up to 9th place. Is 2D back in?
No.
The answer is no. Nope, he's not. Yeah, his Xbox crashed, by the way. He just told me his Xbox crashed. That's why he disconnected.
Shame. It came in the pit stops as well, and he crashed coming out of the pit lane, which I think is probably the worst thing that could ever happen to a driver.
And he can't rejoin, it's bugged.
Oh. Look at it. Is he racing next race? I don't think he is, luckily.
I don't even know who's racing next race.
I will have a look in a second. Connorville leads the way, 3.2 seconds. It looks on now for Connor to win the race. Hopefully don't jinx him like Felix has just put there in the comments. Fish, though, on the back of Menno, trying to hook, line and sinker on the back of Menno for P2. I thought of that one about half a minute ago, and I had to say that. As 2D is actually... It's, sorry, it's not 2D. It is Maledictus who was spun.
Yeah, Maledictus is spun in P8.
Maledictus spinning out a P8. Fish there on the back of Menno, 0.4 of a second on the back into the left-hander of 6 and 7. try to reel him in like a cod, like a mackerel, like salmon, anything that you can think of that's fish related. Fish on the back of Menno, second and third. Don't know where this live stream all of a sudden is going. Fish though on the back of Menno. He looks like he's going to get the job done. Menno just seems like he's got absolutely zero pace on that set of softs. Connor's pulled away another half a second in front of him, and Fish now has got a real chance for P2.
Yep, he does as well, and that will be good for SF1L as well to cement themselves in the top 5 as well, maybe top 6 potentially as well. They've been a lifesaver this event, helping us host the lobbies for majority of this 24-hour as well as George has got past Lex up to 12th place as well, and he's going to get past the Ghost of 2D very soon as well. But final lap of this Abu Dhabi race, and Maledictus has just passed Charlie Harris into turn 9. Quite easy there, but very, very brave once again. Lex is fighting to get the same corner with George Chalky, heading towards turn 9 and 10. Still going side by side. George has a better line as Lex tries to go to the left. No, he doesn't try to go to the left-hand side, but we'll have to wait and see. For VSR, it is Finn that is racing.
Here comes
the next
Fish.
race.
Here comes Fish for the move for second. Sorry to cut you off, Jess. Here's Fish for the inside line of turn number 6 and 7. Tries to get the job done. I think he's trying to wait actually behind him to get the DRS, and that's exactly what he's doing. Has he cut that to perfection? Yes, he has. He's got the DRS. Menno doesn't. And now Fish has got to try and put this absolutely on the line. He's now going to have to try this around the outside. It might dummy him to the inside. Into turn number 9. Menno just cuts him off. Fish has to try and force the move to the inside line. That is a push to pass in my eyes. Fish there in second. Menno there in third. Menno will be absolutely fuming. I am sure the slightest tap does give him a bit of an off put, and Fish there in second, Menno there in third. In the end, though, it has been the NSX boys' day. It has been Connor's day here in Abu Dhabi, and he's coming around the final corner, and I think he's run out of fuel, has he? Connor around the final corner, on the run to the line, takes the win in Abu Dhabi. Fish there in second, Menno there in third. A huge crash coming across the line between the front three. Little blocks in the end in fourth. Tony there in fifth, and Charlie Harris and Maledictus are going side by side again. I think Charlie Harris trying to get that job done again. Killer with a 5-second time penalty for an unserved penalty as well. Maledictus there in the end is going to finish in 8th. Slash there in 7th. Killer there in 6th as well. But NSX Connor, every time I certainly rock up, NSX seem to do very well. Montana won last night in Australia. Now Connor's won here. NSX doing this for Mads, of course, who passed away sadly a year ago. Maledictus though ran to the line to finish in 8th. Then Charlie Harris to finish in 9th. Colonel Mason to finish in 10th. Really respectful drive from him. The other Alfa Romeo though getting past 2D in the end. Chalkers coming across the line to finish in 11th. 2D in 12th. Licks there in 13th. And Zero for LOE is coming in 14th position in the end. I hope he comes in 14th position in the end. Reverses
yeah, he does. He does. He's all good. He's all good.
Matt's there in 15th, and Finley for Humble's squad. Not so humble at the back of the field there in P16. Great job, though, by everyone in Abu Dhabi. There's still 2 more races to go in Saudi and, of course, in Bahrain to round off the season for 24 Hours of F1 and round off this event for this year. Tony gets the drive of the day awarded by the in-game fans, but there's only one man that my drive of the day is going to for this race, certainly, and that is the NSX man of Connor, who just seemed like he absolutely, once everyone got spun, basically, in front of him, he seemed like he was absolutely dominant.
Yeah, he's been dominant all race. All the trouble happened behind him, and James has got his prediction right. So all smiles in the commentators' camp this morning. Well, it's this evening in Abu Dhabi, but yeah, that's helped NSX hugely. But the championship is still yet to be decided. It could still go either way between the top 5 teams. Realistically, the top 3 teams. I don't know which way it's going to go.
And because of 2D's disconnect and the fact that Connor, I think, has won, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I personally think it's Humberg that's leading the championship. Felix has said apparently NSX is leading. We'll get a points update, I'm sure, in the next race. But Connor takes the win. Fish, by the way, 16th on the grid up to 2nd. Deserves everything in terms of that. Great result for him. He absolutely threaded the other needle in the early stages, finishing there in 2nd. Manel there in 3rd with Little Blocks in 4th. Tony there in 5th. Killer, who's going to be joining me in the commentary box very shortly indeed, there in P6. Slash there in 7th. Maledictus in 8th. Charlie Harris in 9th, Colin Mason in 10th, Chalkers in 11th, 2D 12th, Licks 13th, Sarah there in 14th, Eloise might not be becoming the wooden spoon with a point score there, Matt's there in 15th, Finley in 16th, Luke 17th, Chill 18th, and Kavudi there for NLR. All went downhill after Kart Racer performance the race before. Kavudi there down early on out of that. Connor takes the win though, Fish in 2nd, Menel there in 3rd, and Duda Daniel there in the chat saying interesting move from Fish. Yeah, as I say, push to pass.
Yeah, it looked like it, doesn't it? But the stewards obviously will investigate that, so we'll find out soon if that affects to do with anything with the standings as well. But yeah, that's my commentary stint over, James, for this 24-hour.
It is. You're leaving me. It's terrible.
Yeah, I need a break. I've been at it since Portugal, so yeah. But don't worry, you'll see me on track in Bahrain in about an hour's time.
Not bad at all. Well, we'll wish you luck for Bahrain, and we are going to take it to a break, of course, to get Killer into the party and to get all the invites and everything out in the lobby. So we'll be probably back, as I say, in around about 5-10 minutes time. We're going to take a slight break. I'm certainly going to need another bottle of water as well to carry on with my voice, that is for sure, for the next 2 hours. Of course, Mr. Kivior Killer is joining me in the commentary box for the next race here in Saudi Arabia. The fastest race on the F1 calendar, so hopefully we'll be done in 40 minutes and hopefully we'll be back on time by the end of that as well. But we are now going to throw back over to J. Cole once again and get Killer and the likes in and get us into the lobby as well. So, J. Cole, back over to you, my friend. again. 24 hours of F1 event, the penultimate round of the event. I cannot believe I'm saying this. We're finally getting towards the end with everything that has obviously downfalled us in terms of crossplay. We are here though for Saudi Arabia, and I've been reunited by my League of Europe co-commentator extraordinaire, Mr. QVR Killer. Killer, how you doing?
Hello, I am sleepy, I'm high on endorphins and tiredness and P6 at Abu Dhabi for the mighty 4S, who are unquestionably the best team in this event. But I'm doing well, I'm excited to be commentating this one. My only commentary of the event, but I'm excited, it's good fun. A sleep-deprived Jeddah will bring no end of fun, I'm sure.
It will bring no end of fun. There is always a good race around here in Saudi Arabia. Hopefully, though, everyone is going to stick to the guidelines, stick to the rules, and race within the limits, and that's what we like to see, of course. It is one of the fastest events, of course, on the one of the fastest tracks for the event as well, so we should be done, hopefully, in around 40 minutes. If so, we might be on course to actually finish on time, maybe just after 1 o'clock, potentially. We've made a vast amount of time during the night compared to, I think we're about an hour behind when I certainly left the commentary booth last night, but we are waiting for Energetics just to ready up, and then we are good to go, of course, for one-shot qualifying here in Saudi Arabia. Not sure if people heard, we were conversing there with Santeri and Smokey, perhaps going to be the favourites. Anybody else to look out for in here? As Mr. Killer has escaped, I think.
I am here. Apologies, I was just trying to pull the stream up, see if anyone's in chat. I'll tell you who my tip is in around about now when a tower of drivers comes up the left of the screen, because I can't remember who is it. We've got long waiting for players. Have we got some kind of bug here? Perhaps. Okay. Oh no, it's Sean Try qualified, isn't it? So yeah, we won't see till we start. I trust your better judgment. Then I'll say Smokey and Santeri, who I'll call Santa Claus because we're in the festive spirit. And you know, I'll back the home team. I'll back J. Cole for 4S. He's running double points. I know that much. So and he's a wheelie driver. A track that lends itself to wheelie drivers. So I think this could be a bit of a chaotic one. I don't want to pick favourites.
I think it will be, yeah. NSX Vaporizer is the man we're going to go right on board with on the run down in towards Turn 1. Vaporizer normally quite quick around here. So, what can the NSX boys do? Of course, I think they're leading the championship now into the final 2 rounds of the event. As we now come through the right hand of turn number 1 and 2, and then into the left hand of turn number 3. Lickle Blocks have been disqualified for going the wrong way. That is Bottle Job because they're starting right from the back of the field. Vaporizer now coming through the right hand of turn number 5, and then into the left hander of 6, through the left hander of 7, through the right hander of 8, through the right hander of 9. Hopefully he'll keep up around this lap. Through the left hander of 10 and 11. Beautifully done, as Hooky is retired from the session. Not sure if he's crashed potentially out on track. 32.3 in the first sector though from Vaporizer. A bit of a lag spike there. Coming to the left hander of turn number 13. Pretty much halfway through the lap then at this point in Saudi Arabia. Smokey out on top of Memento. Kazizzle, who was the one to watch out for certainly for Bottle Job Racing there in third. Doing a fantastic job at this stage for the Humble squad. In fact, Kazizzle is racing for. Vaporizer though in the mid-pack at the minute on the run down now in towards turns 22 and 23. Famously where Leclerc famously hit the inside wall, spun off. I think that was in free practice if I'm not mistaken. Vaporizer though into the left hander 22, through the right hander 23, through the right hander 24, now through passing the Red Sea on the right hand side, through the left hander 25, in toward the left hander again of turn 26, and then in towards the final corner, of course, of turn 27, which is the final corner here. Smokey out on top, Kazizzle in second. Kazizzle now outgunning Smokey on the run toward the line. It seems they will change, I'm sure, as we come across the line. Vaporizer though on the run to the line, but this lap not too far off. Kazizzle in the end is out on top. Smokey there in second. J. Cole in the end is third. A great performance from him. Joel's there in fourth. QLT returning back as well in this race there in fourth. And Vaporizer there in fifth with just 0.2 of a second covering the top 5.
See, my J. Cole pick no longer looks like shameless bias. It looks like a shrewd and brilliant cool P3 there. But Kazizzle over 0.2 of a second. That is a mighty margin when you look at how close the 4 behind him are. Smokey, J. Cole, Joe's Vaporizer split by, what's that, 62 thousandths of a second. Remarkably close in behind, but we'll see if Kazizzle can translate that into running away. I know the pole sitter in the last race at Abu Dhabi didn't do that very well, but we'll see how things go today.
We will indeed, because there's a lad on top, Smokey in second. I'm excited for that front row, let alone the rest of the field. J. Cole there in third, Joe's in fourth with Vaporizer fifth, Memento in sixth, AJ Wuhan in seventh, Santeri there in eighth, Zoc there in ninth, and Khalifa ran off the top 10 for ERT. Matsy, Foxy, RJDW, Renz and Nickelbox top 15, Matthias, Energetics, Ecos, AJ, Hooky, and there was another one at the bottom of the end of the field, which I totally didn't remember to, I think it was Matty down at the back of the field, if I'm not mistaken. The Portuguese driver, of course, for Relentless. It was a Portuguese driver. I think it might have been Matos, actually. It might have been Matos who was down there at the back of the field. But Kazizel starting alongside Smokey. These two competed around here, I believe, in the PSGL Crossplay Cup event that they did a couple of weeks ago. And Kazizel was on form around here. Smokey, I know, was on form around here as well. So this, in actual threat, could be the real decider in terms of the championship here in Saudi Arabia. I can't wait, because I know both of them in the front row are very quick.
And another thing to note on that in terms of the battle for victory is Shazoo Hype said in chat, Santeri has no setup. I don't know if that's true or not, but if he's not running a setup, that could be pivotal in terms of who wins this event. I'm going to say Kazizel and Smokey will run away with this one, because we have no formation up, so that's my prediction, and let's hope for a nice clean start.
Macho saying as well, apparently his monitor died there in the chat, so that's not good. 5 red lights now going out though, penalty to begin in Saudi Arabia, and it is... Lights out and away we go, and Kazizel gets a very good stop, but not as good as Smokey. He's going to look to the inside line, in toward the left-hander of turn number 1, and he's already ahead in towards turn number 1. Smokey through, and he's into the lead. Kazizel there in second. There was a dive bomb down the back of the field.
Santeri's round, and
J. Cole's
pinch out
as well. Yeah, Santeri and Zoc, I think.
Down to last.
Santeri and Zoc there, I think, getting caught up in a separate incident. J. Cole, I think, got spun on the inside curve coming through turn number 2 by himself. So J. Cole now down in P10. Behind Matthias, AGDW is in the wall in the background. Matos has made up a couple of positions as well off the start, but Smokey has smoked the start, absolutely obliterates the field for 0.6 of a second clear in towards turn 13 for the first time. Kazizel there in second, Memento there in third, Joel's there in fourth, Vaporizer there in fifth, side by side as well on the background, Matt on the back of Matty, which could get quite interesting indeed. The two Red Bulls about to go side by side, it seems, possibly down the straight, but Smokey absolutely electrified off the start, got the wheel spin off the line, and Smokey now leads on toward the end of lap 1.
Yeah, he's dumped Kazizel, but I think Kazizel will stay with him. He had that edge in qualifying. I'm really intrigued in this battle between the two Mercedes and the two Red Bulls, and Matt was looking very hungry through turn 13, through the hairpin, and now he's got a better run through 22 and 23, and he's got a chance now to dispatch the REL driver, Matty MP. I see a bit of a lag there. In fact, it's J. Cole instead. That was horrific lag, I saw. And it's going to be 3 wide into turn 27, almost J. Cole having to back out of that one. Matt's through. Can the other Mercedes in the 4S car follow him through? I don't think he can, but Matt's got a nice exit there. He's past the REL driver, but we might not be done with this yet as we come towards turn 1.
J. Cole is on the back and in towards turn number 1 as well. He's dispatched Matty very easily indeed. So the Mercedes working together, which is good to see. They're both in a set of soft compound tyres, and they need to make up as many positions as possible in this race quite early on, because those softs will not last above lap 8 or lap 9 if it was, of course, a one-stop strategy, which it isn't. Matthias there in 8th. J. Cole there in 9th, but still, Smokey leading the way, controlling the race by 0.5 of a second out in front. And so far, looking through the corners in that first sector, he's just pulled out 0.2 of a second through that S section there alone. Really, really quick from him, because this looks like he's more beneficiary down the straights, perhaps, in terms of his setup. And that is going to come back to bite Kazizel on the backside, coming through the corners, because he is losing time. Smokey there leading the way, though, is absolutely trying to burn away. Visceral, I believe, have lost their lead, of course, in the standings. We will get an update, I am sure, very soon. Kazizel there in second, Memento there in third. There was a message there in chat, Tattle there in the chat saying, guys, how many races have you watched? I think I've only missed 3. I have missed quite a few, but I know for a fact that I'm watching this one right in front of me right now. That's Smokey that leads the way, Kazizel second, Memento in third, as J. Cole all over the back of Matthias.
I was trying to say, other than the ones I've participated in, this is the first race I've watched. I've been a busy bee, but J. Cole is looking very close to the back of Matt. These two soft drivers are the ones making moves right now, and Jerry is very close to the back of Energetics, the P14 there into the last corner, around the outside of one Alpine. He's got the other one just in front of him now, and perhaps... Oh, no, there's a big collision there between the two of them.
He just lost it by himself, Jerry. On the outside, it's so difficult to try and get the throttle down. Matty's lost the position as well to RJDW further down the field. RJW, I should say, down the field into P10. Joes has lost position as well to Vaporizer, and I think he's spun, actually, coming out on the inside curve at turn number 2. So he's lost 2 positions to Khalifa there, and Vaporizer as well. Means the front 3 now begin to pull away very stylishly indeed. But, as you said there, Jerry, 15th position. Santari's now back in P16 with that no setup on, which is a shame, because I would have predicted him possibly for the race win if he did have his setup on. Little Block's now getting through on Matty, who's just, I think, getting out of everyone's way and making a few mistakes there as well. But the Red Bull down in P12. Jerry, though, 15th. No shadow of a doubt, Energetics absolutely got caught up on that. He was just on the inside line. There was a yellow flag, and that's Hooky, I think that's ran for ESW. Jerry, though, P15, nothing he could have done about it. He just purely lost it on the curb, on the outside. It's so difficult to get the throttle down on that corner. Unfortunately for Jerry, and unfortunately for Energetics especially, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, very unfortunate. He was just minding his own business, wasn't he, there on the inside of the exit corner. I think he was happy to lose that place, as we've got some very close battling here between Foxy Red and QRT Joes towards turn 27, and Khalifa could get caught up in this because Joes is gaining massively, and he shapes left and then right does Khalifa. Joes having a look around the outside, and Foxy Red's going to try and sneak it up the inside. I don't know why he's thinking about doing it there, and meanwhile behind, the 2 Mercedes are having a ding-dong. Matt has edged past J. Cole. J. Cole's going to tuck back into the slipstream, and we could have round 2 towards turn 1. It's all going on in the midfield here. Matt covers the inside line. J. Cole backs out, and Matt goes a little bit deep. J. Cole's going to tuck back underneath him and almost sneaks through the 2 Mercedes wheel to wheel, and Khalifa's made a mistake in there somewhere as well. And still the Mercedes are at it, in towards turn 4, and J. Cole does sneak through now.
He does indeed. Soon he's into 8th. Khalifa, by the way, went too deep in towards turn number 1. Saw that in the front of shot, and Khalifa just absolutely broke himself. Has lost the position to Foxy Red, has lost the position to Joel's there as well, and now he's going to come under sustained pressure from J. Cole and Matthias in behind. The pit stops, by the way, because it's a 2-stop race, it is probably going to happen sooner rather than later, so that really does mean that we're going to see the pit stops really begin to try and throw up a little bit of a change-up in this race. What is not changing, there was Smokey out in front from Kazizzle there in second. Has got more EOS than Kazizzle at this point. Beautiful. That is probably the best shot I think we've had on the event so far. There's a yellow flag in the first sector. That's AJ Wuhan, I think. But that is a beautiful shot with the Red Sea in the background coming through on the helicopter cam through this final sector. Smokey now leads the way still. 0.5 of a second over Kazizzle and Momentu. Vaporizer, though, because he's got that clear air, he's out of DRS range to Momentu. He's having to use up a lot more EOS than actual necessarily. He's got 46%. But the thing that's catching him is he's running low on fuel, and that's what Connor did exactly the last lap around as Little Blocks goes for the move in RJW.
Yeah, Matt 240 almost had a lunge on the back of J. Cole. Instead, Matt 240's coming into the pit, so he's had enough of those softs. I thought they'd try and take the softs a little longer if they could and make the medium and have as fresh a medium as possible for the rest of the race, because they were sitting comfortably in DRS with the battle in ahead. I thought they would have tried to stretch those softs out a little bit and then made sure their mediums were as competitive as possible for the rest of the race. But an early trigger pull there from Matt 240, but he has come out into plenty of clean air, so perhaps he's hoping to undercut not just J. Cole but Khalifa and Foxy and maybe even QRT Joes as well.
Yeah, definitely so. Looking at the chat, by the way, there's a lot of comments coming through from our end, as RJW, I think, has spun, coming through the left-hander of turn number 6 and 7. A lot of comments coming, by the way, thanking the commentary. Yeah, the commentators have been absolutely brilliant in this event. I did call it an expert commentary team. That is what it has been, I'm sure, in the 24 hours of F1 event, as Foxy Red has spun, coming through turn 13. I think he got caught up on the inside curb. Santeri now on the back of Jerry is looking quite feisty as well. And now, what can the Haas do with no setup? He's right on the back of the AlphaTauris, and the AlphaTauri, in fact, of Jerry, is going to go for the move on Matos. And this is hard in your mouth moment. He does get the job done, Jerry. I thought, honestly, they were going to be side-by-side all the way up towards 22 and 23. And Santeri, yeah, bit of contact in the back, bit of a love tap, but now, no setup. Actually suiting him quite well. I don't know what wings he's running, potentially. I don't know what setup he's on. Whatever it is, he's looking very quick as Khalifa has spun out the final corner.
On the lunge there, almost from Santeri on the back of Jerry, and someone's gone round. That was Khalifa, as you said. I think Zoc just got a little bit distracted by that in a moment on traction, or it could have just been those tyres going off because he's into the pits on the softs.
Both the Alpha Tauris are pinning at the same time as well. There's a double stack for
Ren's
Matos.
past Matty. Ren's and Matty are going, sorry to cut across you, going right at it in towards turn 2. That was dicey there. I think Matty was trying to cut back and get a little run towards 4. Not long enough, but yeah, there was some proper, looked like that was going to be an airplane crash there between those two into turn 1. And Matt and J. Cole are side by side again.
This is brilliant. Saudi Arabia, as I always say, always delivers on this game. I've never had a bad race around here, and it's certainly proving that to be, once again, a very good race. J. Cole and Matthias, as you say, were side by side. There's another yellow flag in the middle sector, and that is actually Foxy Red. Yeah, Foxy Red just ahead of them, in fact, has spun. Matty there on the back there of Ren's as well. Tato, by the way, I think
Battle
there's
for the
one to
lead.
know...
Battle for the lead. We've got 2/10 per second between Kazizel and Smokey here, and look at Momentus in this as well. We could be having a bit more ding dong merrily on high in the festive season towards turn 27. That was absolutely awful. That was a massive reach. I'm sorry, but yes, I think we could see some change of leadership very soon.
I was going to say a very rude one, to be honest, but I don't want to break the 9 o'clock watershed. Because Zizzle's on the back of Smokey for the race lead. The humble squad man to the inside line of the VSR man breezes past Kazizzle to the inside line, takes the lead of the race. But now, what happens is there's another yellow flag. I think there's 3 wide, I think, in the background. Matti Santeri and Santeri's going through, and both of them. Ren's involved in that as well. And Santeri to the inside line should have this job done, even with no setup. Is he going to go for the 2 for 1? Not quite. He just makes a mistake coming out of turn number 1, and now lets Matty and Ren's back through. Santeri still on the inside line for turn number 4 and 5 though, and it's gonna be end up on the wall just about. Ren's gets through that in 8 and Santeri there in 9. Tato, by the way, I think wanting to find out what's the name of the commentator. The visiting specialist is Killer. Yeah, it is Killer Blue. My name is James Head. Hopefully you're not tuned in for the first time. I have been about the business for about 10 years now. But, because this will lead to the way, Smokey in second, Momentum in third. Hopefully, though, everyone is liking the stream and do get those donations still coming in. We have jointly reached, by the way, over £1,000 between both charities, which I think is phenomenal.
It is, and fabulously deserved as well, because charities, they rely on the generosity of the public, and it's nice that people are plunging into their pockets in what is a very difficult winter for many to pay out. The 2 Mercedes, something happened between them. Finally, they came to a head because J. Cole and Matt were limping around, both with no front wing. They both pitted for hards, but there was a collision of some sort between those 2.
Kazizel had a huge moment. I think it was a lag spike rather than anything coming at the final corner. Nearly scared the living daylights out of me. Kazizel leads the way though in towards turn number 1. Smokey there in second, Momentu there in third. WizRob Gamer, by the way, in the chat saying this 24 hours thing is amazing. Yeah, it is indeed. I think Jimmy Broadbent, George Morgan, I know, was in the chat a little bit early on. Jimmy Broadbent normally promotes the event as well. It is phenomenal. It is a full league racing community event, even with crossplay and even with the struggles that we've had first hand with crossplay. Our first time running the event, of course, with crossplay. It has been great to see. Obviously, the likes of the PC boys and the Xbox boys getting involved. And look at this, Killer. We've got Smokey Momentu second and third, fighting a PS person in Kazizel.
We have indeed. It's fabulous to see 3 platforms dicing it out for victory, for charity. It's, you know, it's Christmas. It's what you love to see, isn't it? But this battle is, I think, going to rumble on all the way to the end of the race. There's nothing to split these 3 in race performance. I do wonder if they were to break out of each other's DRS, if anyone could grab the upper hand, who's actually going to carry this, because Kazizel seems fairly comfortable right now, even though Smokey has got that extra rear wing opening, and here it is now. Momentu's actually quite closer to the back of Smokey than Smokey's to Kazizel. And what is happening further down, I can see Santi is very close into turn 22, and Matty just got a little out of shape there, and very out of shape for Santa Claus.
Left side end plate damage, I think he's got away with it though, Santeri. That was a hard hit on the wall on the left side end plate, but I think he's got away with it. He is on the back of Matty, and Matty just about holds 7th position. They're still continuing on, by the way, in towards turn 1, and still they've got to make those 2 pit stops, so it's going to be fascinating. Are they going to go softs to the end of the race? That's what I'm thinking at this stage.
I'm wondering if they might do 10, 10 and 5, as there goes Santa up the inside of Matt. Matt's not having any of it. He holds out around the outside, switches to the inside for turn 2, and he just expertly blocks off the advances of Santa there, through 2 and into the little kink of 3 and towards 4, and that was nicely done as Renz gets very out of shape. through turn 5, going over the painted tarmac there.
WizBob Gamer saying in the chat, he's been casting for SF1L for a little while now, and I like this more and more. Fantastic to hear. And as well, Keki Roosbury saying the Red Bull Esports Twitch person was in the chat. Yes, I remember that because I said I was commentating in China and I didn't even bother to tune in. So thank you very much, Red Bull Esports admin, because this leads the way. Smokey in second, Momentu there in third. I think I've just had a go at the Red Bull Esports account rather than anything, even though I'm not convinced it's actually them. Might be, because it leads the way. Smokey in second, Momentu in third. They are coming up to blue flags, I think. That is the Red Bull of Foxy Red, who's about to be lapped. I think AJ Wuhan is also lapped, I think, at this stage as well. In fact, actually, he is somewhere out on track. I think he's already been lapped. Yeah, he's already behind the guys as Focus was coming in the pits, and now Momentu's going to have a charge at Smokey in towards turn number 1. The SF1L man on the inside of the VSR man, but he's not going to risk it from that far back, and he doesn't get the job done. And still they continue on with Santeri and Matty going side by side through the final corner.
They are, and who's got the DRS though towards straight? Neither of them have DRS, and they're both into the pits. So they're going to do probably 9-9 and then a 7 on the softs towards the end. That 7 on the softs will be a bit of a reach if based on my experience of this track. But the top 3 don't really seem to incline to go for an overtake right now, do they? They're very happy just to tuck in and follow in that pattern they're in right now as Foxy Red and Hooky are having a little battle there for P18 as we come through the kinky wavy straight towards turn 16. And Hooky, that's not really a very long braking zone, but Foxy Red's trying to do something about it. Instead, he might try have a lunge into 22, and 22... Again, it's not really a corner,
no
James.
way.
I'm sure you'll know where you don't want to have a side-by-side, and they're through each other.
That's one way to end the overtake. Foxy Red has got the job done on Hooky. Not in the way that I would have hoped, not in the way that anybody else in the stream would have hoped. But Foxy Red is through anyways, one way or another, on Hooky, and he's into 18th position. Hooky there in 19th, AJ Wuhan in 20th. I'm just trying to calm down my laughter at this point of what I've just seen, because this is the leads the way. Smokey in second, Momentu there in third. Certainly from Foxy Red's perspective, and certainly from Hooky's perspective, I don't think he was expecting that, as the front 3 are in.
All 3 of them in synchrony, so it's going to be exactly as you will when they come back out. It'll be interesting to see who deals with the warm-up through Sector 1 a little better. If anyone does, there's an advantage to be had. Vaporizers in as well. So it's going to be Lickle Blocks and QRT Joes that assume the lead of the race. As the top 3, net top 3 are unchanged in order. Vaporizer's gone for softs, look at that.
And he has, and that actually is quite smart, I think, because those set of softs, he's in that clear air, he's got nobody behind him, nobody in front of him. He may as well try and go for the attack. He's 4 seconds behind. NSX are in the championship fight. The way to do that and fight is to bring Vaporizer into play. Set of softs, I think, is a very smart call. Whether or not those tyres, though, will live up to the mediums in front remain to be seen. WizRob Gamer also saying, by the way, in the chat, I want to be the esports version of Murray Walker in the future, but it's a rocky road ahead. It is a very hard road, I've got to say. I mean, I've only been doing top tier PSGL and WOR for, what, I think 2 years now. And it's taken me 8 years to get to that point. So it is a long, hard road, certainly for most commentators. George Morgan being the exception, I think, rather than the rule, of course, in the league racing community. Felix also saying in the chat, very rude from a Red Bull Esports to not tune into your commentary, James. Maybe send an email to Michael, because that is not so right. Yeah, I totally agree. He's getting an email as soon as I'm done this live stream.
I think it's fascinating, isn't it, though, the route into commentary, how it's changed. Back in the day, you'd be commentating Formula banging racing. Oh, and there's a bit of desync there between J. Cole and Matos. But yeah, back in the day, you'd be commentating on your local. You'd be at some sports football match, maybe, then dilly-dallying into, and what's happened there to Nickel Blocks?
He's ghosted on my screen. Has he left the session?
I wonder if he's just completely desynced. I wonder about a little bit of total desync, because Matos has gone as well, because he lagged when J. Cole passed him. But all I was going to say is it's interesting that esports is the new pathway into commentary now, and it's not your local sports team.
Yeah, definitely. George Morgan, by the way, saying he was running Casting League. I'm called F4 Mueller 4. which is a very good take on Formula 4, I think is what I'm trying to say there. And now he's doing F1 Esports. Yeah, doing F1 Esports, he's doing fantastically. He was in the chat a little bit earlier on as well, about 7 o'clock this morning. I certainly was tuning in to the Portugal race, and he was in there. Littleblocks though has completely desynced on our screen. Matos has left the session. These are the downfalls I sadly have to report of crossplay. This is the first event that we are running with crossplay. Certainly, it's the first time I've commentated on a crossplay event as well. And to be fair, everything I've run from my end certainly has run very smoothly indeed, as Hooky is out of the race coming through turn 25.
Yeah, that's an odd place to drop it. Normally you drop it on the way into 22. So to drop it on the exit, I wonder if he just clobbered the inside curb a little bit, because it is slightly raised, that curb, and it's just spat him out into the wall somewhere. But our top three, look at that, they were, for a brief moment there, both gaps were 0.550 of a second. That is so finely poised between all of them. And, you know, we commentated League of Europe Division 1 last season, James. This has given me memories of Montana and Connor holding off on attacking each other until those final 5 or 6 laps. And I wonder if we're going to get something similar here, because neither of them, or none of these drivers, really want to attack each other as Santeri passes Renz into turn 27 there.
Yeah, it's a game of chess. I'm liking it too, I think, at this stage. It's whoever wants to make the move. In my eyes, Smokey is quicker than Kazizzle, just because he's got more of a cornering setup on than Kazizzle's straight line speed setup, which in the corners, Smokey looks absolutely bang on.
Ren's just clobbered the back of Santeri Tass into turn 1. Luckily didn't turn the car around, but it wasn't even an overtake attempt. It was just very clumsy driving from Ren. Sorry, as you were.
Yeah, Ren's, I think, just backing up into the back of Santeri there. Littleblocks, by the way, is asking for an invite, if you can try and get onto that.
I can try, but because it's a crossplay lobby, it's difficult to do.
It is very difficult. While you try and sort that out and hopefully try and get him back in, Smokey is on the back of Kazizzle, and Smokey does look very, very quick indeed. Of course, he's on the Xbox side, Momento's on the PC side, Kazizzle on the PS side. This is one advert for crossplay that you would want to see, because Kazizzle, I know from experience, I commentated on his first ever league race, believe it or not, Kazizzle, and he has grown up so much, and he has learned so much, I think, since the time of him crashing into Housey in FRL F3 back in the day. Smokey there in second. My first experience of commentating on him, same with Memento. This is the perfect advertisement for league racing. This is the perfect advertisement as well for crossplay, I think. It does work. When it works, it's brilliant, because Kazizzle leads the way, Smokey in second, Memento in third, and as I say, this is probably the best advertisement of them all. We've got a PS boy, an Xbox boy, and the PC boy fighting out for the top 3 in the race in Saudi Arabia, still with a pit stop to go as well.
Yeah, I think this is all going to boil down to that last stint on softs, isn't it, between these guys? Vaporizer, he was about 4 seconds behind, he's now 6, so those soft tyres haven't really worked out for him in the middle of the stint, or perhaps not unfairly, he's just not quite got the pace of the top 3, who are on another level today, it seems. Or try and get Littleblocks back in. I've sent him an out in chat. Ooh. We'll see if he sends me a friend request. And what are you seeing, James?
Memento clobbered the wall out of turn number 17. I think he was really on the limit of breaking his wing there. He hasn't, luckily. Right side end plate damage potentially on the car. I don't think there is. He's continuing on. Luckily, it's more side pod than anything, and Memento just about gets away with that. That was a pure... It's almost one of those instances where you clobber the wall, it brings dust basically off the outside of the track. That's what happened there with Memento.
And I think even closer this lap, and I'm going to hype it up, but I don't think anything's actually going to come of it.
He is.
Because Memento doesn't have the overspeed on Smokey, or maybe he does have the overspeed. No, he's not using his ERS. It's not inclined to have a go for that one. And you can understand it, because what if he goes for Smokey and there's contact and then Kazizzle's out of DRS and suddenly the race win's gone in a heartbeat. So I get the logic, I get the rationale, but it's just baiting us, isn't it? It's not what we want to see, some wheel-to-wheel fireworks exploding. Speaking of that, we've got Matty passing Santa Claus here around the outside of turn 1. Textbook DRS overtake.
Yeah, perfect for Matty. Turnings into P8. Matty, of course, was the last time I commentated on him, I think was in LOE F2, which was quite a few years ago, I think now. Matty there in P8 doing a good job. Santeri Martikainen, of course, formerly of VSR, of course, representing Humberger here in the event. I still believe he is part of VSR, if I'm not mistaken. If not, then he's obviously changed teams. He's there in 9th position, doing a good job. He's got Renz behind him as well. And with no setup, to be fair, you've got to put it into perspective. Where would Santeri be if he had a setup on? Probably in around the same position, because everyone else ahead have either had luck in this race or have had a really good fight of things like the front three are showing certainly out on track.
Although, you say that, but Tatul, whoever that is, threw some scepticism on the theory that he's not running a setup, Santeri, because apparently there's no way he could be that quick in a straight line with a default setup, but we'll see, because he's very quick in a straight line here. And he's pushing Matty down the straight there. Matty's red light blinking away. Santeri is such a bendy, twisty straight. It's very hard to go for an overtake. Matty gets very out of shape, picks up a penalty for his troubles through 22. Out of shape through 23, 24, 25, 26. Corners that just sort of blur into each other. His vaporizer is coming off his softs. And Santeri doesn't want to make this overtake. He's going to wait, and he's going to have his cake into turn 1 here, I think.
Bump drafting, I think, is probably the best way I'd describe it, certainly between these two. I think Santeri, yeah, he is going to come now. Matty down the straight, absolutely breezes on by. Cannot be quick down a straight line. I've got to agree now with Title there in the chat. Santeri through and he's into 6th. Matty there in 7th. And Vaporizer, by the way, is coming out right behind these guys. He's just came out the pit lane. Of course, no pit entry and pit limits are being explored, I don't think, by the stewards. If that was, though, Vaporizer did stick a right wheel over the white line coming out the pit lane. Vaporizer, though, in 9th, has had no impression in this race. The set of softs is certainly not the tyre to be on towards the end. That is why I think, because this will Smoky Memento, the top 3 are certainly going to be going on the set of softs, I would say 4 or 5 laps for the end of the race.
I think so. I think it's going to be a switch to softs probably on lap 19,
it's Smoky,
18
actually,
if
for
they're
the race
feeling
lead. Here
adventurous, and let's have a look.
Wow! Speed. I'm not sure if Kazizel made a mistake just for the corner before, and now Momentu's going to go around the outside as well, potentially. And look at this, because Smokey now is getting 3 DRS from Matos, who was a lap car just going through shot. Smokey now pulling the lead. Kazizel there in 2nd, and now Momentu's going to go side by side, potentially in towards turn 1. I think he's just too far back to go for the move, and yeah, he is. Kazizel holds on for 2nd, goes a bit too deep himself, and now Momentu tries to get the switch back out of 2, doesn't get the job done. Smokey now thrown into the lead. I can only assume Kazizel possibly caught the wall coming out of 22 and 23.
I would presume so. 22-23, it's such an easy corner to mess up. I did it in League of Europe. I messed it up pretty much every single lap because I was shaking like a baby because I was in a title fight. And it's not particularly fun when you're in a pressure situation. One of the worst corners on the game, in my humble opinion. But look at that. Smokey's already pulled out 8 tenths through the first sector. That's a big marker that he's laid down there. We've got some battling going on for P10-11. Look at all those arrows flying across the screen. There's been a change. There's J. Cole passing the Ghost of Lickle Blocks and Zoc dispatching RJ on tyres that are 5 laps younger. I feel a bit sorry for Vaporizer in this race. He's going to be thoroughly in no man's land after the stops, because even though he's pitted and he's on fresh mediums, he's still slower than the front 3, but comfortably quicker than the likes of Joes and Khalifa, so he's going to have a very lonely end to this race.
I'd actually go a bit further and say I don't think he's actually on the pace compared to Renz and Matty ahead of him. He's only caught 2 tenths of a second through the first part of the lap, and then through the first part of the middle sector as well. And Vaporizer is catching, but at what expense? Because these front 3, I thought Smokey was coming in the pit lane there. Juked me completely there, the VSR man, in towards turn number 1 they go. Smokey, Kazizel and Momentu still leading the way, but that was a bit of a cheeky look maybe to come into the pit lane there from Smokey's perspective. Kazizel there in 2nd, Momentu in 3rd, they're doing a good job. And Tato there saying in the chat, it's sad Santeri can't attend the fastest Finn race tonight. There's quite a grid coming. Ruti and Tino and the likes are racing. Ruti really as quick as Santeri? I'll have to believe it when I see it. Yeah,
just clipped the wall on the inside there of, what was it, turn 9?
Yeah. Yeah, Kazizel hits the wall.
It's gonna, those kind of things, they knock your confidence. They shake you so much, and you take, well, at least with me, it takes me a lap to recover from that kind of thing. I can't just put it on my mind and go again. I mean, you have to, but if I make those kinds of little mistakes that are indicative of a little bit of fatigue or a little bit of nervousness, they do stick with you, and it's hard to get them out of your head, especially when you're not professional athletes, which of course none of these are. To have the mental strength to recover from little mistakes that creep in is very hard. Even in something as what might seem as silly as league racing, it's a tricky thing to overcome. But Cazizl seems to have dealt with it because he's very close to the back of Smokey now and having a look through turn 27, just letting the Alfa Romeo know where he is.
I think they'll be in this lap. Smokey in. Oh no, I thought he was going to come in. He doesn't. He jukes me again.
You've been baited again, James.
Terrible. Absolute filth from the VSR, man. Absolute filth. How dare you do that to me? Smokey leads the way because there's all second. Memento there in third. It is for charity, remember. Joe's there in fourth. Khalifa there in fifth. Ren's vaporizer.
Oh,
having a real good battle.
Between Matty Ren's. Oh, look at that.
A vaporizer, as if he's just been shot out of a cannon. Quite literally, has got both of them.
Well, that's the curse of the commentator, because you said he looked slow and he didn't look particularly quicker than those guys. And there he goes, he makes 2 overtakes in a single straight and up into 7th place. That did gain him a little bit on the leaders, 33.7 behind. But yeah, he's going to be in the loneliest of races once these guys around him do make their second stops.
The two Mercedes are about to go wheel to wheel once again. J. Cole and Matthias, they're having a battle for P12 and 13 further down the field. Of course, Matthias on the back of J. Cole. J. Cole gonna not defend this at all. This is gonna be plain sailing for the Dutchman down the outside line in towards turn number 1. Matthias is through and he's into P12. Probably round 4 out of however many rounds that these guys are going to have towards the end of the race. That is for sure. Back to the battle for the lead, though. It is getting quite condensed once again. Smokey has got 3 DRS there on, I think that's Little Doctor's AI, who was going through the middle of the front pack. Smokey, though, leads the way. Cazizl in second, Memento in third. Hopefully third time is a charm. I'm going to say that they're going to come in the pit lane this lap around. Yes, they do. Smokey in. Cazizl, interestingly, though, he duped to come in the pits, decided not to. Now he's going to have to push for a qualifying lap, basically, because Smokey and Memento are in.
I mean, we saw this in Abu Dhabi at the last race, didn't we? Some people jumped the gun earlier for the softs. Tony's and Slash went early. I pitted 2 laps later than Slash and managed to pull 5 seconds on him just because my softs were that much better. So they're going to gain a lot in the short term. They're going to struggle towards lap 24 and 25 as Khalifa passes Santeri and then ducks into the pits.
Yeah, Santeri was actually looking for the move on the back of Khalifa. He was on the outside line, and they were side by side at the corner. It's just, I think Santeri actually got caught on the curb on the outside, unsettled the car. Therefore, he is now down in P5, and Joel's there still in P4, and Khalifa, as you say, into the pit lane. 15.8 seconds. Look at the gap already. Smokey is treating this like a qualifying lap. Cazizl, at the moment, isn't. He is not treating this like a qualifying lap. He's going to be really under threat, I think, for Memento, potentially, in this race now, because Smokey has literally ablazed, I think, 4 or 5 tenths per second already. They're only halfway through the lap. Cazizl's towards the end of the lap at this point. 15.3 seconds. I normally say a pit stop around here is around 17 seconds. So Cazizl and Memento, I think that's going to be more the battle. I think Smokey's going to be in the chance of getting the second outside of Cazizl here.
Yeah, he is. He was ahead of Cazizl anyway, and he'll have had the advantage of a lap on the softs compared to the old mediums as Cazizl does come in. That by staying out, Cazizl has won this race for Smokey because it's cut Memento out of DRS. Oh, Cazizl, mate. Not what we needed. But yeah, let's cut Memento out of DRS by Cazizl staying out. And now Smokey has got this, I don't want to say wrapped up, but it is wrapped up if Cazizl can't do anything.
He's behind Memento coming up the pit lane here. Not good news at all for Cazizl. That is probably a chance of winning this race absolutely gone up in smoke.
I think it went up in smoke when he stayed out an extra lap, if I'm going to be particularly cynical, because Smokey's now, 2.5 seconds ahead. The undercut was massive, even for 1 lap, and I don't think that 1 lap, all those 2.5 seconds, are going to come back to Cazizl in the short time we have remaining. I think he wrote his race off there the moment he did whatever he did, and we've got lots and lots of pit stops going on in the background.
Yep, Santarian, he's came out and clearer. Matty coming out the pit lane alongside Renz, pretty much coming out the pits, but he's behind him coming out. And Matthias as well is ahead of RJW, who's actually in a fight with Jekyll coming out the pit lane. They're pretty much side by side, coming out the exit of turn number 1 through the left-hander of turn number 2. Matty picked him another 3-second penalty for cutting turn 4. RJW, though, is into 12, now ahead of Jekyll. I think he'll like that, to be honest, RJW. There is a yellow flag somewhere on track. That is for an Aston Martin. Can only assume that is for AJ Wuhan, as Kazizel has not lost time to Memento. In fact, he's actually trying to gain that time back. There are the pit stops, by the way. Joel's still the one to come in for a second stop. That is it in terms of the mandatory pit stops for the rest of the race. Smokey now, though, looks like he's going to try and smoke Memento and Kazizel. Fastest lap of the race, 29.4, and he just looks absolutely effortless out in front, and he's still got half of his ERS to use.
Yeah, I think perhaps Kazizel and Momentum made a mistake by not trying harder to win this race earlier on track, because they ended up shooting themselves in the foot between them for how those pit stops went, and doubly so because Kazizel win the 5 second. They should have, I don't mean to sound like a commentator, not a driver, but they should have fought harder and made it more entertaining on track, because, like I said, they've just cut themselves adrift completely, and now that they don't have DRS, Smokey is very much checking out of this hotel.
Matty, by the way, is checking into 9th position, gets the job done, down the outside line and towards turn number 1. Matty there throwing he's into P9, Ren's there in P10. That was a perfect follow-through, by the way, on what you just said there. Matty threw into 9th, Ren's there in 10th, great job, and now Kazizel applying a bit of pressure to Memento there. Coming down the back straight in towards turns 22 and 23. Smokey, though, just looks in a different league, in a different class, to be honest, compared to Memento and Kazizel at this point. And I'm not sure if Kazizel clipped the wall there, or if that was just a lag spike. I certainly saw a bit of a clip there on the right-hand side. Kazizel, though, now has absolutely shot his bolt. He really needs Smokey, I think, to make a mistake in this race, as Khalifa has made a mistake. That's a mistake too many. That had turn 13.
It is, sorry, I was just looking at a notification, but what's Khalifa done? Oh yeah, it is a mistake, but he's lost another place to Renz.
Yes, Kazizel.
Oh, yes, we've got Kazizel very close and very ahead of Memento.
Easy stuff from Kazizel, outschooled and overschools Kazizel through turn number 1, from Memento even in towards turn number 1 and 2, gets the job done. Now he's on a fresher lap of tyres. That's probably around 6% around here in Saudi Arabia. What can Kazizel do? I know he's got very good pace around here. I mean, I think he won PSGL. He's certainly won TML in the past around here as well. Kazizel has got experience. Has he got more experience than Smokey over the next 3 laps or so? It remains to be seen. Just because he's 1.6 seconds behind doesn't mean he's going to be within DRS range come the end of this race. It does chop and change quite a lot in Saudi Arabia. In Kazizel, he's got to be mindful of that pace on those set of softs, but he's also going to be mindful of his ERS, because he has got around about the same amount of Smokey, in fact.
Oh, this would be so much fun if we didn't have a 5-second penalty for Kazizel, because he is looking mighty rapid. Isn't he, as you say, he's reeled that gap in from 2.1 last lap to 1.4 this time around. And this is our only real battle on track. We've got Renz behind Matty MP26 between IRT and Relentless for P8. Other than that, the battle for the lead is where it's at, which is always nice. If you can have one battle, make it the battle for the win. Why not?
It is, and Kazizel is beginning to really try and make stay of that mistake, of that 5-second penalty that he had for speeding in the pits. Memento, though, in behind, doesn't want to let him go that easily. And in fact, if Kazizel can drag Memento into things, we're going to have a 3-way battle onto the final lap of the race. Kazizel has come from this far back to win here before. Whether or not he wins here again in Saudi Arabia in the 24 Hours of F1 event, where honestly, it really does matter. Mills coming against, of course, an Xbox and a PC guy ahead of him. Now he's inside of a second. Kazizel now beginning to put his foot down. This is the Kazizel of old. This is the Kazizel now that really has to push. He needs to push the limits too. He doesn't want to push the limits too much, but he has to push within limits. Of course, no DRS zone on this part of the track, but Smokey now just beginning to let him in. Kazizel now 0.6 of a second behind. This is going right down to the wire in Saudi Arabia.
It absolutely is, but I'm going to pull away from it for 1 second just to ask a question. Do QRT know that Joe's has to make 2 pit stops here?
I think he does. Maybe he's coming in this lap and then goes to the end of the race.
Yeah,
and he'll be up behind Jerry.
Being an entire whole 1 lap. I mean, he will be very close to Jerry. What's the gap? About 18 seconds between the two of them? That would be
Oh, ja, wat doen deze gasten? Ja, 3 seconden.
Oh,
rust.
For a second, towards turn 27. Is he going to make a move early? Is he going to make a lunge? No, he's not. He's going to wait for turn 1. But that 5 seconds, so costly. Momentum will want something to happen here, and he'll want to try and slip through and take advantage of any chaos that Kazizel might cause. And here comes Kazizel up the inside. His red light's blinking away, so's Momentu's, but I think he's going to take the lead of this one on track, and he does indeed. Nice and easy. Smokey's not fighting that one.
I've got a lovely sandwich, by the way, that's about to be delivered to me in the background, because this leads the way from Smokey in second, Momentu there in third. I have a feeling there might be a bacon sandwich, potentially, which is very nice for Sunday morning.
Joe's hasn't pitted, so he's not been told.
So will he be disqualified then?
I would presume so. No one has thought to tell this man that he must make 2 pit stops. I wonder if I'm a little bit confused. Oh no, Kazizel's out.
He's not out,
but he's lost his front wing.
Yeah. And that is what I said literally a lap ago. He has to push too hard. He's pushed too hard. He's gone over the limit, and unfortunately for Kazizel, he's there in P3. Smokey now arguably has been awarded this race. Do not rule Momentu out though. He's 0.6 of a second behind. Still not over and done with just yet. It might not be the battle that we wanted, but Smokey certainly has looked quite dominant in this race. Momentu though has to try and gain something. He is gaining down the straight, but I don't think he's got that straight line speed enough to try and close in. Smokey needs one more mistake, I think, and then Momentu can be handed it on a plate, but Smokey in the end is coming around turn 25 and turns 25 and 26 for the final time, and has looked an absolute masterclass from Smokey at this stage. Runner up to Otis Lawrence in WR Season 13 Xbox. Smokey now proving himself to be one of the top guys on crossplay. Smokey now on the run to the line, wins in Saudi Arabia. From Momentu there in second, Kazizel trooping his way around to finish in P3. You have to feel sorry for him. The Humble squad humbled in the end, and with that 5-second penalty, with Joel's penalty as well, I think he's going to remain ahead. Kazizel there in third, Joel's there in fourth. Of course, QLT I think are getting disqualified though from the race. Battles going on further down the field as well between Energetics and Foxy. Vaporizer across the line to finish in fifth. Jerry there in sixth. Matthias right on the back of RJW, which is going to be an interesting battle all the way up towards the left-handers of 25, 26 and 27. And Matthias just absolutely blazes on by on that sort of medium compounder size. Matthias Looney's into 11th. RJW there in 12th. Into the final corner. Blocks the line as well just for good measure. I think he's going to finish in P11 as long as he doesn't run out of fuel at the line. RJW though, to be fair, is coming back at him. All of them to the line. Matthias just about ahead, and RJW in fact in the end 1500ths of a second, 2500ths of a second between Renz and Matthias as well, 1100ths of a second between Matty and Khalifa, and Matty there in P12, AJW there in P13, J. Cole P14, and Energetics and Foxy inside of each other, but they're having a really good fight, and that's a desync, complete desync down the straight. Energetics round, and Foxy Red's going to finish 15th, Energetics in 16th. I can only assume one of them didn't see the other.
I would presume so. I think Foxy Red, I think I saw it lagging away earlier or something, possibly. But that's exciting, isn't it? 400ths of a second between Matt, Renz and RJ. That's why we love penalties. But Smokey, take nothing away from that man. He drove a beautiful race to me. Made the right lap for the pit stop, and then dealt with what came at him afterwards in consummate fashion, if that's even a word. I have no idea.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job, did Smokey. Energetics by the way to the line, finishing there down the field in the end, I think in P16. Smokey, though, does take the race win. In the end, absolutely deserved that race win as well. Jerry Zuck gets Driver of the Day awarded by the in-game fans. We have got one more race to go, however, for the 24 Hours of F1 event. It is around Bahrain. Bahrain always delivers as well. I'm going to be back in the commentary box once again. I have got my lunch that is eyeing me up in the background, let's just say, which I'm going to have very soon indeed. But that man to the top spot of the podium, VSR are back. In the end, Humberger had an absolute disaster with Santerian there, no setup malarkey. But in the end, VSR, I now think, have taken the championship lead back off them.
I trust your word on that. I don't know, to be honest with you. We need some standings in the chat before the last race of the season, but hopefully either way it's close and we do get a proper showdown at Bahrain. Who have you got in the com box with you at Bahrain?
Mr. J. Cole.
Oh, J. Cole's back, the big man himself. Do I need to add him to the party, or are you hopping over to Discord?
If you can, that would be awesome, because I think we can just keep the same stream running then.
That is fantabulous. I will get him in.
Perfect. Now we'll run through the full grid order then from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Smokey takes the win. Arguably smoked the rest of the opposition. Momentu there in second. Kazisel there in third. Joel's there in fourth. Whether or not he's fourth at the end remains to be seen. Of course, there might be disqualification coming their way. Vaporizer there in the end in fifth. Jerry there in sixth. On Terry there in seventh. Did well for Humberger. In the end, they'll not enough. Matthias there in eighth. Renz in ninth. RJW in 10th. And then Khalifa 11th. Matty in 12th. AJDW there in 13th. J. Cole there in 14th. Fresh from his P3 qualification on the grid down in 14th. Foxy Red 15th. Energetic 16th. AJ Ruhan and Nickel Blocks and Matos all lapped, I think. AJ and Matos certainly finished under their own volition. And Hooky DNF'd early on in the race. The only DNF, in fact, out on track for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I'm going to quickly fetch back over to J. Cole, I think, at this stage. Might be on a little bit of a longer break this time because I, A, need my lunch, and B, I think I also need to have a little bit of a rest after that one in Saudi Arabia before we build up, of course, to the final round of the 24 Hours of F1. Big thank you to Mr. Kivior Killer for joining me in the commentary box.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are very welcome indeed. Hopefully, as I say, this is not the last time that we are going to be together, certainly in terms of the commentary box. We're going to hand you back over to J. Cole, who is going to be joining our party very soon indeed. I'm going to go for my lunch, and I'll probably see you in about 5 or 10 minutes.
We are back. The final race is about to commence. We're just waiting for one driver to join, and then we can get this one straight underway. I am back after having an absolute shambles out in the streets of Saudi Arabia, qualifying in P3, and then that just went to absolute shit. That was a bit interesting. So I'm now been demoted to the comms booth because my team probably don't want me to drive anymore, which I don't blame them. But I am here, of course, with the lovely James Head. After this is your 4th race in a row for doing comms now?
It is. I feel very tired, but I'm still up for this one. I'm looking forward to it. Bahrain is always a good track. I think that provides really good action. We've got Montana back. We've got Santeri Martikainen in. I'm excited for this one.
Me and you both, James. Me and you both. I said the final race of the 24 hours of F1 for 2022. And it's around Bahrain. And Bahrain usually provides some pretty good racing. I'm in the process of just getting the rest of the results put together as we speak. And in fact, I'm actually just going to go and grab a couple of them right now. Just so at least then we can kind of gauge as to whereabouts or see which team is sort of where within the standings. I know it's sort of very close towards the top end of them though, with the likes of VSR, Team Hamburger and NSX really are the top 3 that are all sort of fighting tooth and nail with each other for points with that. So yeah, I think this could be a bit of an interesting one. As I said, final race. Who do you reckon comes out on top?
I honestly hope, just for what this event is all about, I honestly think NSX might come out on top. They've got Montana. He's an absolute goat around this track. I think he's been beaten here before. Montana, probably one of the favourites for me. Watch out for QVR Nathan, though. I think Nathan is going to be the real underdog in this. Hopefully going to deliver a good performance. But no, I'd want to see Montana win just for the absolute pleasure of, obviously, the way this event has been run. Remembering NSX Mad, of course, he took the win in Australia, took the win, of course, a couple of rounds ago as well, Montana. And I think, honestly, if there's any deserving team, it'll be them.
That's fair enough. I get what you're saying as well. So, as I said, it's still unfortunate with the passing of Mads and the passing of Vadim as well, both earlier on this year. It's what we're raising money for, British Heart Foundation. It's not what we're raising money for. We're raising money, of course, for... it's just what gave us an idea to raise money for those as well. Raising money for the British Heart Foundation and raising money for brain tumour research. If you want to donate, you still can. They're at the bottom of they're underneath the stream on desktop, and I think on phone. If you just go on the 24 Hours of F1 page, you should be able to find the 2 logos there for the British Heart Foundation and for brain tumour research. You should just be able to press / click on them, and then you will be able to donate over towards us for that as well. I have just seen a donation pop through, I think from Jan or Jane, I don't know how you pronounce their name, I think it is Jan anyway, just saying thank you for setting up this great event and honouring Mads and Svetkov the right way. So massive thank you to you for participating as well. We are just about to load into the one-shot qualifying, and there's a couple more that have also been or a couple more donations that have come through that I don't think we've actually managed to read out. Sean and Antoinette donating £5 about 2 hours ago. Someone saying thanks for organising this great event, $15 for 3 hours ago. Thank you very much for that. Ariel Mark, I was drunk as hell last night and woke up to practice for Spain 5 hours ago. Sent €26 over, so massive shout out to you as well, Mark. And then Corinna Campbell, believe that is a family member of the QVR Campbell.
Good one shot quality.
QVR Campbell, donating £10. Tater, I think I said that right. €40 towards brain tumour research as well. So, as I said, yeah, all for a massive cause. We all do appreciate the donations that you have been providing. I appreciate everyone that has sort of tuned in to all of the races and everything that has gone on throughout this event. We're finally into qualifying for the final time for this 24 hours, and I'm currently on board with Santeri. I don't know who you're on board with, James.
I'm the same. I'm on board with Santeri. He's coming through the final couple of corners through the first sector in towards turn number 8 at this stage. and he's looking quite good. Montana, I was right on board with the first sector as well. He's been looking quite good, but Santeri up there, P6 at this moment in time. Alexander Kraft is also up there as well. Montana, Nathan, Slash, exactly who you want to expect. Santeri with a bit of slide there, coming out of turn number 10 as well. But Montana currently out on top. NSX want to try and get back into this. Vaporizer has done them a little bit of justice in the last 2 races. A little bit inconsistent, however. So Montana has got to try and put this all on the line here in Bahrain as we now come through on board with Santeri. Through the right-hand return 11, through the right-hand return number 12, and in towards 13. Montana, Alexander Kraft, Slash, Nathan, Santeri. I think another one might not be running any setup potentially. And Santeri, if that is the case, then obviously he is going to be further down the field than necessary. Neon, by the way, disqualified. Jolie and Dark both invalidate their lap times as well. So I think the GOAT is going to be out on top. Aliens, indeed, it's not, in fact. It's Alexander Kraft, 27.831. Montana, 27.849. And Nathan, third, 27.902. Santeri, in the end, if he's running no setup, proves it. 8 tenths down on Alexander Kraft.
This in Saudi Arabia as well. I don't know if he didn't mean to pick a setup or what, but yeah, he did the same thing in Saudi Arabia. So I guess, because I've seen what he is capable of, and I would have thought he would have been towards the top with the likes of Alexander Kraft and Montana. But yeah, I mean, down in 8th position for him. And again, you must be running no setup. But anyway, as I said, Kraft is the one on pole with Montana lining up alongside him in 2nd. Nathan's in 3rd, Slash in 4th for Relentless. Henry in 5th for ERT. Larkin in 6th for Forest. Nolan in 7th for CSL. Santeri in 8th. Michelizzi in 9th. Stroll in 10th. Sneaky in 11th. Gareth in 12th. Ryan in 13th. Jess in 14th. Neon in 15th. Renz in 16th. Ollie in 17th. Dark in 18th. And Zexa at the back of the field as well. And funny enough, SF1L, they've hosted pretty much the majority of the lobbies throughout this whole 24-hour event. And what a better place to start last from than the final race of this of this whole event. They were designated to start last at Bahrain. It's not a bad track, to be fair, to start last at, because overtaking, you see a lot of go down on this track, James.
Yeah, overtaking is quite potent around this track, especially if they get all ingrained in a DRS train. We're so used to mentioning that around here in Bahrain. But with only 30 seconds to go now until the final race of the 24 hours of F1, who is going to, and I'm going to steal an absolute pun out of the blue here, who is going to craft their way to success?
That's a good question. I can't lie. I'd like to see Nathan do bits. As a friend of mine, I would like to see him try and challenge the likes of Montana and try and challenge Kraft. But it is really the battle of those two teams. Kraft versus Montana, VSR versus NSX. For the final time for the 24 hours event, the lights are out and away we go, and it looks as if Alexander gets a very nice start. Montana also having a decent start, very even at the front end of the field. Slash having a pretty decent start. Larkin as well, already up into P5. Nolan up into 6th. Kraft being attacked by Montana down the inside in towards turn 1 and through turn 2 and 3 now. Kraft is going to have the outside going down in towards turn number 4. Nathan trying to sort of weave his way to see if he can find any sort of opening going down, but Montana's going to have the inside. Kraft will have the outside going through turn number 4. They're still both side by side. Nathan trying to now also follow suit. They're almost 3 wide going through turn 5 and turn 6. Nathan down the inside through turn number 6 to have the outside for turn number 7. Montana has now solidified himself in the lead of the race, and there is a bit of decent going on because those cars are mounting each other. It's not in the graveyard shift anymore. We cannot really show this on stream.
We can't. Slash is right on the back of Felipe as well, and actually getting dive bombed by Santeri to the inside line. The Aston Martin has spun on the background of Michelizzi. There was also a bit of a mistake. I think Dark Neon Z through to Ninton. Jolie all the way down the back of the field as well for ESW. But Montana, what I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR. VSR who at this stage? Montana leads the way, but as we approach the end of the first lap, was Michelizzi's round.
Yeah, just a little bit of a tap. I think that was from QRT Ryan on the back of him as, oh my goodness, Henry R, what was that? Henry R trying to dive it up the inside of Sneaky coming up the hill. I think that's through turn number 12. And yeah, just, I don't know what happened because it didn't look like Henry was going to make the corner. And Sneaky definitely got shoved off of the track. So don't know what had happened there with the ERT, man. I think fatigue really is just kicking in for everybody now. Probably just wanting this event to be over. I can't really blame them, to be honest with you, but yeah, as I said, I think just a bit of a fatigue kicking in, but pretty decent first lap. As I said, quite chaotic in midfield and towards the back end of it, but very good battling at the front end of the field as Dark getting past Renz, going down in towards turn number 1 now as well, and Michalizzi and Ollie also trading positions in the background, as you can see through turn number 1. Michalizzi now down into 19th and Ollie up into 18th.
Yeah, and Henry ran on the back of Jess just in front of these guys as well, and Jess there in 16th. She's doing a good job. Henry on the inside line though for turn number 5 and 6. This will be impossible. Gets the job done though. Jess, to be fair, back off, and Henry is through and he's into 16th position. Overtakes Jess Gamer. Michalizzi there down in 19th. The spun once again. Humble squad being humbled early on here in Bahrain, but Montana leads. Alexander Kraft in 2nd. Nathan there in 3rd. Larkin there in 4th. Felipe and Slash are going each other as well. These two hate each other quite literally. They're both in different teams, both in the Red Bulls of course as well. The Williams I should say, Felipe, the Red Bull there of Slash, and Santeri there in 7th. Right on the back of these guys. He's obviously been used to F1 and obviously been, I think he's been on iRacing recently as well, so he's having to try and get back into F1, doing a good job at the minute. He's got CRL strolling behind him, and they're pulling away actually from Sneaky and Ryan filling out the top 10.
Yeah, that certainly is. I'm surprised he actually came back to F1 to be honest with you, but I suppose for a good cause, why not, I suppose. Ecos Dark getting the move done on speed. Gareth down for P11 and P12. Montana setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Nathan now only 2.5 tenths behind Alexander Kraft. So with the RS now going to be enabled on this lap, and really a low ERS for both Kraft and Nathan. I think Kraft just trying to do anything he can to catch up to the back of Montana, but just can't seem to do so. Montana, all the top 3 really, all burnt out a significant amount of ERS. Larkin sitting on a nice 40%, quite comfortable as well. Could potentially be a podium for the boys for 4S, which I would love to see for the final race.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job at this stage. Currently, Larkin there in 4th, doing a great job as well. The ERT man, of course, representing the team there. Felipe and Slash 5th and 6th position. They're doing a very good job. Of course, Larkin is doing that good job. I believe he is, as you say, he's in the 4S team rather than for ERT, even though that's in the same esports team. Santeri, though, is on the back of Slash, and Slash in the moment really under pressure now from the man, the myth, the legend that is Santeri, the flying Finn of PC, perhaps we could call him. He's certainly doing a good job on the back of Slash. He locks up in towards turn number 11, and there's a spinner in the foreground. That's Larkin round.
I've done this 3 times this event, James. It's now the 4th time that this has happened, and I've done this with my team. All 4 times I've done this with my team. I've done this with Killer multiple times. Renz has just gone around behind Larkin as well, so Renz now dropping down the packing order as well. But yeah, as I said, I've done this a couple of times with our team, and I would like to profusely apologise to all of them, because I feel like I'm just jinxing you left, right and centre, boys.
You're going to get outed, I think, after this. Nathan, though, is not going to get outed. He's on the back of Alexander Kraft in towards turn number 1. The KVR man trying to look down the inside of the VSR man. Gets the job done. Alexander Kraft, though, is going to try and craft his way through turn number 2 for a switchback, but he doesn't get the job done. And Alexander now right on the back of Nathan. Nathan has shared for the same DRS zone around here. Same with Mexico as well earlier on. Alexander Kraft, though, down to 3rd. Nathan through, and he's into 2nd. I made it look quite easy. And Santeri does it down the inside of Slash as well. Trying to get the elbows out there. The Haas and the Red Bull going side by side. But now the Haas has to try and back off, and Slash remains as he is in 5th.
I quite like that. I was on board with Alexander Kraft when he was going down towards turn 4. I saw Nathan's little rear wing flapping like it was kind of waving at Kraft, just saying, "You're not getting past me. Hello, how's it going?" But yeah, Slash manages to hold on ahead of Santeri for the time being. Stroll now also joining into the fray. What was a 2-horse battle is now turned into a 3-way battle with all of these guys. There are yellow flags, and I believe that is for... for Michalizzi. So unfortunately, Humble Squad being even more humbled in this final race. They started off the event very strong because Zizzle, I think, used his double points at Mexico for the first race of the event, and they were on top, and they were begging us to get the standings out to show that they were out on top. Despite them being called the Humble Squad, I don't think they're being very humble about being at the top of the standings at the very beginning of the event, as Henry are making the move on Zexa now for P11.
Yeah, I think the rarity is between the Humble Squad and certainly in the United Kingdom's Eurovision hopes is we normally don't end up on the left side of the leaderboard, and I think in that case certainly Humble Squad not on the left side of the leaderboard. Santeri though is, he's on the back of Slash 4th, 5th and 6th position. Stroll running behind these guys as well. The CRL man has been showing really good glimpses of pace in this event as well, and he's right on the back of Santeri, and in fact could look for a lunge up the hill and towards turn number 4. Not going to get quite close enough though. Montana is just beginning to be reeled in slightly by Nathan. and 1.2 seconds to gap over Nathan at this stage. Alexander Kraft there in third, Felipe in fourth. Felipe, to be fair, is doing a good job. At least he hasn't been caught up in an incident just yet, like he did in Spain and like he did last night on Brazil commentary, that's for sure. Felipe, though, in fourth, Slash there in fifth, Santeri sixth, Stroll in seventh. Do not want to remind my co-commentator alongside me of that is Z3, because it gets forced out wide by Renz further down the field. Renz soon he's into 12th, Z3's in 13th, and Stroll is just absolutely catapulted down the inside line, I think, of Santeri, and Santeri's being spun by him.
Yeah, Santeri now down into 8th position, now put behind QVR Sneaky for P7, so very unfortunate to see with that. For the, I believe that's, I'm trying to think of what team that is what team is that for that Santeri's driving for? I can't remember. Hamburger, right, okay. Yes, so for Team Hamburger, yeah, I think they're also still within that little battle there, so Santeri just sort of being forced out, as you said, by Stroll. Not nice to see, but hopefully, you know, Santeri's going to be able to try and make that one up. He will have the DRS, though, going down in towards turn number 1. I don't think the Portugueseman of Sneaky's going to be able to hold off the Finn. That is absolutely flying down that straight in towards turn number 1, and yet Santeri already clearing him before reaching turn 1. So, yeah, nicely done from Santeri, and Sneaky probably now also has to keep an eye out behind, because Ryan is all over the back of him for QRT as well. Just to have a look on board, but yeah, no, I don't think Ryan's going to be anywhere near enough to go for a move on Sneaky for the time being. Santeri now back up into 7th, 2.7 seconds behind Stroll after having that little collision. Might see him try and close back up as another battle going on pretty intensely. Renz, Zexa and Dark all for that P12 position, and Ollie and Neon also joining in the fray with that as well. Three-way battles now turned into a 5-way battle with 2 Ferraris in there.
Yeah, 2 Ferraris in there indeed, and Nico Stark actually tries to get the switch back out of turn number 8. He's on the outside line through turn number 9 and 10. This is normally impossible, and it is impossible because he's backed off, and he's actually got into the back of him. Z3 sent spinning pretty much by Dark into the braking point. Has to try and wait up. Z3 has to try and rejoin track safely as well. Ollie there in 14th position, doing a good job. Hopefully going to be having an Ollie Jolly Christmas. Can we put that one in for ESW? Down in 14th position, Z3 in 15th, but back up front, Montana leading the way, 1.2 seconds over Nathan. These two are cancelling each other out. Same with Alexander Kraft. He doesn't seem to have the pace compared to the front two. And at this moment in time, Felipe, Slash and Stroll certainly can't live up with Stroll catching the back of Slash in towards turn 1. I don't think is going to be close enough. However, though, Neon on the back of Z3 might be.
And I've also just seen Henry R. Yeah, Henry R went for a spin, and I also just saw that little icon just teleport back to the middle of the track. So that to me says that Henry R has just reset the track. That could be a points deduction for ERT, which would not be nice to see for those boys. But yeah, Nathan doing actually a very good job so far, holding off the VSR driver of Alexander Kraft, and yeah, he is definitely keeping tabs with Montana. He's not being a slouch and not letting him go whatsoever. So, as I said, I'd like to see what Nathan can do for QVR. I would like to see Nathan actually pick up a race win as well. But he's got to bear down the Swiss that's just been utterly dominant for NSX. He's been driving pretty much all night just because his other teammates have just either been asleep or not been able to get any equipment working or anything like that. So, yeah, I think Montana's probably quite fatigued out. I think if any chance that Nathan's going to get to actually take a win for the event, why not make it the last one?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I covered Australia last night as well. Montana took the win there. It would be only fitting, I think, for NSX to take the win here to try and wrap up as well the championship. I'm, however, led to believe it's 2 points separating both NSX and BSR coming into this event, coming into this final race. That's what I'm led to believe anyways. We will get confirmation of that, I am sure, in due course. Dark, by the way, is on the back of Renz, running down in towards turn 14 and 15. Of course, only 15 corners around the track here in Bahrain. Montana, though, taking the lead still from Nathan in second, Alexander Kraft there in third. Sneaky trying to sneak his way on the back of Santeri. However, Dark, in the meantime, is going to try and get past Renz down the straight in towards turn number 1. Should try and have the straight line speed, but a hand of rage there from the Ferrari. That's what I'd like to see down the straight. And actually, Renz just tries to come back across him. Bit of lag spike there, and in the end, Renz has lost the position to Ollie.
Yeah, so Renz now down into 13th position.
Oh, and Ollie spun!
Ollie spun. Yeah, okay, well, he's not having an Ollie Jolly time around Bahrain at the moment, is he? So, Yeah, unfortunately for Ollie, now down to 15th, and Jess also going to go down the inside of him in towards turn number 4. I think that's going to be moved on for Jess. So I was saying that, no, Ollie managed to hold it around the outside. The League of Europe driver, good old Jess Gaver, not able to make up that position from Ollie. Remains down in P16 for the time being. Zexa still closing up to the back of Neon after getting that tap from Dark. Potential steward support afterwards, we may see. I don't know, it's the end of the event, so whether they will or not, and whether it'll benefit them or not, I'm really not too sure. But yeah, as I said, a lot of battles now sort of starting to emerge. It's been a bit of a theme of the 24 hours event. I know it usually is, because there's a lot of well, a lot of these guys won't usually race with each other. They'll either be in different tiers, or they'll be they'll just be in different tiers, or they may not be in the same league. And yeah, it just sort of, you start to see a lot of gaps build up within each of the grids. I mean, you can see it from the top 3, all pretty close to each other. Then it's 4th all the way down to pretty much 9th, with Stroll, who's actually just made his way into the pits, ironically enough. And then, as I said, there's just massive gaps sort of behind Stroll. So it doesn't quite surprise me that is usually a theme of that. But I wouldn't have thought that gap between each of these guys would be that significant.
Yeah, definitely not. I think, honestly, it speaks volumes, because normally we see league racing, normally we commentate on league racing as well, where everyone is pretty much in and around the same pace. This is the exception rather than rule. This is the beauty, I think, of the 24 Hours of F1 event, especially this year, because we've got crossplay. We're seeing different drivers from different platforms coming together as well, and we're now seeing a real indication of their pace. I mean, take Alexander Kraft, for example. He's there in 3rd, keeping up with Nathan. Henry Oz just retired into the pit lane, so ERT now down to their final man. Unfortunately, he has gone out of the race, and Speed Gareth there down in 19th also came in the pit lane a couple of laps ago. But Alexander Kraft, back to my point, this is the beauty, I think, of the 24 Hours of F1 event. Nathan just runs so far wide, I thought he was going into the desert there, to be honest, coming out of turn 13. But Kraft there on the back of him is doing a great job. And this is the beauty. This is cross-play at its finest, because Alexander Kraft normally probably would be outpacing Nathan and Montana. But in this stage, because he's on PC, because he's now in the cross-play event, for VSR, he's doing a phenomenal job. He's keeping up with Nathan, hasn't used up much excess battery as well. Felipe, however, has sped into the pit lane, and he's also came in, I think, for another set of mediums.
Not good from Nolan. Hopefully he'll be able to, well, he's going to have to serve that on his next stop, as Ollie has gone around yet again, coming out of, I believe that is turn number 12, if I'm not mistaken. Kraft has actually caught up to the back of Nathan now, and is going to start to put a bit more pressure on the QBR driver. He's been building up a little bit of VRS so he can go on an attack. Whereas Nathan has really nothing left to show. He's getting his Christmas lights out early. I say early, it's a week till Christmas today, but he's getting his Christmas lights out early on the back of his car, just to indicate to Kraft that he is running quite low on energy. Slash just sort of in a bit of no man's land at the moment, 6.2 seconds after that contact from Santeri and Stroll. Slash has now just been sort of running his own race, and I'm sure he probably doesn't mind. I'm sure the Relentless guys don't really mind either, as well as Sneaky just sort of chilling on the back of the fin at the moment, and Ryan just with that penalty to his name as well. He's got to try and do his best to at least get ahead of these guys and get 3 seconds, or if he's content with just staying behind them and finishing around sort of P7, P8, then I'm sure he probably won't mind either.
Yeah, Ryan's got good pace. I've commentated on Ryan on this game before, and Ryan has got good pace around here in Bahrain. So he will stick with them. He will stick with Sneaky, certainly, and he will stick, of course, with Santeri. Montana weaving, trying to juke the front 2 to come into the pits alongside him. Doesn't. Nathan's run out of VRS, by the way, as well, down the straight. And Alexander Kraft, that means he can now exploit that DRS as well in towards turn number 1. And he might just be close enough in towards turn number 4, maybe for a lunge. Sneaky and Ryan are both into the pit lane together. That will be, I assume, for another set of medium compound tyres, and they can last, of course, around about, 10, 11 laps, I think, and then go on to sort of soft compound tyres towards the end of the race, maybe even a little bit longer than that, as Alexander Kraft still in 3rd. There's another battle going on further down the field. I think it's Felipe and Stroll going side by side down the straight, and it's Stroll trying to get the move done on the inside line. Doesn't. Felipe shuts the door, and Felipe hangs on to P7 and has actually got ahead now of Stroll as a result of that move. So now, Felipe, those 1 lap younger tyres, what can they do? Can he pull away from Stroll?
We can see it. He was doing a pretty good job out in front as well. As I said, he was doing quite nicely, just keeping up with Slash and the Santeri as well. So Nolan could have it could be in for a decent shout. The thing that's going to hinder him though is that 5-second penalty that he picked up for speeding in the pits. He's obviously going to have to serve that on his next stop. You just got to hope he doesn't do it again, because then he'll actually have to serve. I think it serves then the full 10 seconds, or it will just serve one set of 5 seconds and he'll have another 5 seconds. That will just get added onto the end of his race. So he's just got to hope that he doesn't do it again. But yeah, unfortunately for this one, he's going to have to bite the bullet, serve the 5 seconds on his next pit or on his second pit stop. But at the moment, yeah, he's running pretty well. The highest one that's actually made a pit stop so far as well.
Oh,
so
no.
Ooh.
Neon round. I was on board with the Larkin. It was really on the back of Neon, and Neon, unfortunately, has got caught in the outside curve on the exit of turn number 10 and has spun the car around. Larkin got away with that, luckily. Front 3 are in, but Larkin got away with that. Neon's down a position behind Jess.
Now it's time to see where is Nolan going to come out in relation to those top 4. Slash is the one that we also need to keep our eye out for with Santeri. Obviously, he was all close to the back of him. Top 3 are all coming out of the pit box now, or coming out of the pit lane now, sorry. Slash is just making his way out of the pit lane. Nolan is just coming down the pit straight now. I'm going to run on board with Nolan. You can see on the right hand side of your screen, Slash completely dusted. Nolan up into 4th position now, 4.5 seconds behind the top 3, and not only that, they're all going to be on cold tyres. Nolan's going to be on nicely heated up tyres, and same as Stroll. Nolan could start to catch up to these guys.
They will, and I think that the big threat though, long term, as there's a spinner, I think Ryan has just spun coming out of the pit lane there, coming through turn number 3, Slash there in P6 and Stroll in P5. What Slash has now led himself to believe there in P6, as I was on board with the wrong driver there, Slash there in P6 is doing a phenomenal job, but he's got younger tyres now compared to Felipe and Stroll. That is going to be the real deciding factor. Can he carry those basically 2 or 3 laps? It's something that I was going about in with Killer in Saudi Arabia, where drivers were carrying an undercut strategy compared to an overcut. Overcut has worked for now with Felipe and Stroll in 4th and 5th, but Slash there in 6th, 4.7 seconds behind. What is he going to have to try and do to close in on the back? He's got Sneaky behind him. I'd honestly use your assets behind rather than use your assets in front, and then the pace will be dipped down. And speaking of pace, Nathan's right on the back of Montana for the race lead.
Just about to say that as well. Nathan has managed to catch up to him through the pit stops. I don't know what had happened with that, but yeah, Nathan now in the DRS of NSX Montana, coming down in towards turn number 1. Of course, Nathan's not going to be close enough going down in towards turn 1. Turn 4, though, we could see a different story. Nathan, of course, DRS wide open. Barely any ERS to play with either. Montana sitting on a nice bit of ERS that he can use to defend from the QVR driver. We'll see if he's able to pick up. I believe it'll be QVR's 3rd win of the event. I think pretty much might have picked up, have won 2 of the races so far in this event. So I definitely know he won it in Mexico, and I believe he had the other one where it was very close with Montana. I think it was like a 2,000th difference, because I think Montana was using his 3-second reduction on that track. I can't remember which track it was, but yeah. So Nathan could be looking to pick up the 3rd win for QVR for this event, and that'd be very good for those guys. Meanwhile, Stroll still just clawing onto the back of Felipe, and Sneaky also clawing onto the back of Slash for the time being. Zexa and Ollie have both opted to go on a set of medium tyres, so they'll be taking them, set of soft tyres, so they'll be opting to take the mediums at the L as their final stint. A lot of these other guys are looking to probably take a set of the softs for their second and final stint for the 24-hour event.
Yeah, I honestly think towards the end of the race, the mediums are going to be so overpowering, they're going to try and gain their way up the field. So everyone that's on that set of mediums now, pretty much going to be absolutely screwed over towards the end of the race. And Z3 and Ollie there, 13th and 14th. They're on a set of soft now. What difference can they make though on that set of softs now for them to be benefited later on? That is what that's going to be going through their head at this stage. Alexander Kraft, by the way, suddenly picked up the pace, as proven, fastest lap of the race of 1:30.911. Nathan right in behind Montana. These two do like to play games around here. I'm pretty certain we've seen this in LOE this season as well between these two. Montana and Nathan now 0.4 of a second separating. Alexander Kraft, though, do not rule him out. The VSR man. He's part of VSR for a reason. He's there in 3rd. He's on the back of Nathan and Montana, doing a phenomenal job, and now just beginning to try and get into that rhythm once again that suited him certainly so well in the first half of the race.
Tell you what, it won't surprise me if those two are going to start playing mind games with each other. When it comes to the second stops, I reckon Nathan's is probably going to just sit pretty behind him for now, try and build up a bit of his ERS now, as he used a lot of it, just sort of trying to get as many positions and keep as much time to those top 3 as possible. Of course, with now DRS being activated, he doesn't really need to worry too much about burning that battery out as much. Whereas like Alexander Kraft, he's actually doing that right now, and you could just see that red light flashing on the back of his car, where he had quite a bit of ERS also built up to the point where we thought he was going to attack Nathan, but he's used a lot of that now just to make sure he is back within DRS of those top two. But yeah, Nathan, I think, as I said, he's just going to just sit behind Montana for the time being, just build up that ERS, try and maybe get Montana to use a bit of his ERS, just so then he can go for a bit more of an attack. But I reckon he's going to play this smart, and he's going to wait until the second stint to do that. Sorry, the third stint to do that. I don't think he's going to try anything whilst they're both on the set of the mediums. I think the softs, when it goes full on aggro, I think we're then going to start to see some sort of moves go down for those top three.
Yeah, that'll probably be around as well, that 22, 23, I think they'll begin to pit in for that sort of soft compound tyres. They're not really lasting that well around this track. It's still very high tyre wear. Even though it's lower than the last game, it is still very high tyre wear around this game, somewhere around 5-6% a lap on the sort of soft compound tyres on average. So Montana and Nathan got to be mindful of that. Same with Alexander Kraft there in third. Felipe, to be honest, is doing well in fourth. There's a spinner in the middle sector. That's Michalizzi. That's out of the race coming through turn number 13. I don't think we're going to get a safety car. I don't think safety cars are even on in the lobby. So that means Michalizzi out of the race. Humble scored. Unfortunately, ultimately Humble. They're down at the back of the field now.
Yeah, I was unfortunate for Michalizzi out of turn number 12 as well. And there's another spinner that I believe is Zexa through turn 2. Excuse me. So, yeah, unfortunate for him. Those soft tyres really not working out for him. Ollie's now made the pass on in 4P13. And, yeah, Ollie now out into 13 Zexa for Bottle Job Racing. Doing exactly what his team name does. And is unfortunately bottling. And has had another little pirouette around turn number 4. So, very unfortunate for him, to say the least. Jess and Neon also just still having a little battle for P15 and P16 respectively. As Zexa's really getting out of shape. And those softs are completely dead for the Bottle Job Racing driver. Neon now on the attack on Jess for P14. Any sort of points do count within this event. And interestingly enough as well, Alexander Kraft, he's caught up to the back of Nathan. So there's now a proper three-way battle going on for the lead of this race. Montana's probably going to start to feel a bit more under pressure, as Neon now going to go down the inside of Jess, going down in towards, I believe that is turn number 11. So yeah, there you go, down the inside he goes. Jess trying to hold it around the outside though, and I think she might be able to hold on to that position up ahead of Neon. They're both still side by side coming up towards the hill, and Jess, very nice defensive maneuver, keeps that position. P14 for the League of Europe driver, and I do quite like to see that. Very nicely done from Jess. Neon, though, I don't think he's going to give up on that attack. Might see another attack go down in towards turn number 1. I can see Slash and Sneaky relatively close with each other on track, but I don't think there's really any sort of DRS, so stick on board with this battle just for the time being, as I don't think anything also going on with those top 3. So here we go. Neon using his ERS, going to go down the inside of Jess once again, down in towards turn 1. I don't think Jess is going to be able to put up too much of a defense for that, although saying that, again, she's going to try and hold it around the outside, both being very respectful of each other, but just has to give up that position in the end. And Jess now down into 15th, down into 16th. Zexa now also trying to get involved through turn number 3 as well. Zexa, I don't think I've actually managed to pick up any DRS. I think he must have just passed Jess as the detection point. Oh no, he didn't pass Jess as the detection point came about. No. So that's very strange. I don't know why I didn't get any DRS from that.
He switched it back out of turn number 1. I think they were both level pegging coming out of turn number 2 and 3. It's because the DRS detection point is shared between the detection point of turn 14 just before that, and then down in towards turn 1. It's shared by the same DRS detection point, even though it's different. Trust me, it's not. D3, by the way, is going so far off track. I think he's going maybe for a camel ride, potentially in the desert, down the old F2 straight, certainly. D3 they're down in 16th position. Montana, though, still leading the way, and that's what I like to see. Speed Gareth getting out the way of the leaders as well. Montana still leading the way. Nathan in second, Alexander Kraft in third. A big ultimate game of poker is going on. A high-speed game of poker as Dark has unfortunately burnt his chips down in towards turn number 14 and 15, and there he's down in P12 now behind Renz. But this front 3 battle is fascinating because they're not going for each other, they're just going about their own races. Felipe and Stroll pretty much washed, I think, in the background, around 8 seconds behind, and Slash and Sneaky, they're in their own private battle. It's going to be one of these 3 that wins. Which one, I do not know.
Yeah, as I said, I think that third stint is where we're really going to see who is going to take it all, or go all in and take all of the chips home with that. So, lap 17 and lap 29 for the final race of the 24 hours event of F1 2022. I will just start to reminisce on the entirety of the event. It was an absolute shambles to start off with, I've got to admit, but I am massively grateful to the other admins, you know, to Old School, to Gary, to Ash, to Elliot from SF1L, to QVR Verstappen as well, all, you know, trying to help out within the event, and as I said, all the SF1L boys for hosting as well as, who'd you say, Spam?
Felipe spun coming out of the final corner, and Felipe, unfortunately, showing why I think he should be in his retirement home by now, spinning coming out of turn number 15. He's side by side to be fair with Slash. This could get quite interesting. This could get quite aggressive, and they've got sneaky on the back of these guys as well. Felipe trying to hold it around the outside. He holds 5th position for now. Slash is going to have a comeback at this one in towards turn 4. Gets the run out the corner. Doesn't quite have the pace, I don't think, down this race. He's got hardly any ERS left, and Slash in the end does not go for a move. And luckily, Felipe does not brake test someone like he did in Spain.
Yeah, no, certainly didn't. And also Sneaky just having a bit of a half spin through turn number 4 as well. So the Portuguese man thought he might have had a look at one of those two as well, but unfortunately not able to get any sort of move done. Dark as well through turn 2 and turn 3, all over the back of IRT Renz, going down in towards turn number 4. He's got no ERS to play with, has the ECOS driver, but just sort of doing his best just to push along the IRT driver. Don't think he's going to be able to get his best just to push along the IRT, doing his best just to turn 4 as well. I thought he went off track just for a second there, but yeah, Renz able to hold on to the Ferrari just behind. I can't lie to you though, James, I'm quite surprised at the amount of penalties that we've actually got in this race, because Bahrain, I never see any penalties around here. So I see 3. I know one of them's a speeding penalty for Felipe. Kraft will have the outside going through turn number 4. They're still both side by side. Nathan trying to now also follow suit. Going on because those cars are mounting less
to the inside line. Yeah, and one. He absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. At this stage, as you say, as Nathan has a huge Montana outside the 1 and 2. Alexander Kraft now is all over the back of him on the run up towards turn number 4, and the VSR man doesn't want to think twice about this one. To the inside line, in towards turn number 4. Beautiful on the brakes. He just forces Nathan out wide. Nathan off track is going to try and hang it on in there, but Alexander Kraft.
It's not in the graveyard shift anymore. We cannot really show this on stream.
Absolutely who at this thing. He absolutely shut the door on Alexander. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR.
Nathan down the inside in towards turn 1 on Alexander Kraft. Through turn 2 as well, having a little bit of a swerve through there. I don't think Kraft was expecting Nathan to go down the inside there, but yeah, now Nathan having to, well, he's going to have to try and reduce some of that ERS if he wants any chance of still being able to take a win for,
he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way.
You know,
What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way.
Nolan's doing the tactics. He's doing them NSX Montana tactics from receiving from League of Europe. Backing off so that he can get the DRS. It's a charity event, Nolan. Come on. You can't be doing that. I know you're doing it as a joke, but come on.
He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR, who at this stage, Montana leads the way. What I liked about his turn 1, he absolutely shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR from Nathan and behind, so he's got to think about this carefully, the VSR man. Nathan, no, not shadow thinking at all. He's out of the pit lane, he's out and clear out. I think Larkin's going to be the one coming out the pit lane, but luckily Nathan is ahead on that sort of soft compound tyres. Personally, I would have liked to see Larkin ahead of Nathan, but there we are. Nathan there in 5th, Larkin there in 6th, Slash and Sneaky as well into the pit lane. They're going into a set of softs, as is QRT Ryan, I believe, also onto that set of soft compound and tyres. But Montana now has to try and weather this storm. 2.2 seconds the gap over Alexander Kraft. He's got nobody behind him bar Z3 who's been lapped. At this stage, Montana is winning this race, and judging by his ERS usage, I think he's coming in this lap.
Yeah, from the looks of things, he's absolutely burning that everywhere as much as possibly can as well. So I expect the top two to both be in at the end of this lap. I will be very surprised if one of them stays out. As I said, I'm pretty sure both will be in. So and Zexa also picking up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. Renz and Neon both into the pits. Dark also picking up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles as well. Let's have a look then. Top two. Are they both going to be coming in? Let's have a look. Montana making his way around the final corner. In he comes. Kraft, is he going to follow the same thing? He stays out. Okay. So Kraft going for something different. He walks the fresher tyres at the end. But I don't think that was the right call.
I think it might be, though, because he's got Ghost Cars ahead of him. Speaking of which, Ghost Cars just completely, absolutely messed him up. There's another one just spun there. I think that's Renz around again. Alexander Kraft, though, leads the way. And he has now got this race, maybe in safekeeping. I think he's banked on, potentially, getting this DRS advantage of Z3 ahead of him. Now, he's not going to be within a second, I don't think. So therefore, he can't get the ERS, he can't gain that extra 3 or 4 tenths. That extra 3 or 4 tenths could be the real decisive thing, because he'll need those 3 or 4 tenths. As Montana, by the way, has come out behind his good old friend Felipe.
I just seen that as well, and he started weaving on the straight. He knew what's going to be going down. So, well, I'm intrigued on how this is now going to pan out. I saw Nolan was holding out for quite some time, but I wasn't expecting Montana to just slot in just behind him. So, is Montana going to be able to try and dispose of Nolan ASAP? Is Nolan going to be able to hold off Montana? And yeah, as I was saying, back him up into Nathan. Nathan is now back within 1 second of Montana, and Montana's using that ERS to try and go for a move on Nolan. Going around the outside through turn number 11. Nolan's going to try and hold it around the inside on it, but there's not much that Nolan can do. Straight past Montana already. He can try and send it up the inside here through turn 12, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything really. And yeah, Nolan, I think he did try, to be fair to him, but just wasn't anywhere near enough. And Montana now just sort of weaving in and out to see if he can just break a little bit of the toe from that. But yeah, Montana now past Felipe. Might have held him a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be anything detrimental against Alexander Kraft, as he's just making his way out of the pit lane now. Nathan setting the fastest lap of the race so far, but he's burning his ERS as well. Kraft just coming out of the pit lane and quite a bit away from Kraft as well. As I said, I don't think it was really worth Kraft pitting a lap later, but a little bit of a tap from Nathan onto the back of Nolan. Nolan going to try and go defensive on Nathan as well, down towards turn 4. Nolan, he tried it with Montana. Is Nathan going to be able to outbrake him as well? No, he doesn't. Nathan had to go for a bit of a switchback though on Nolan through turn 4. Nolan will have the outside for turn 5 and the inside for turn 6, but Nathan shuts the door on him completely. Nicely done from Nathan. He held up Montana and he's held up Nathan. Unfortunately for Kraft, it wasn't enough that for him to be held up by. And Nolan still sitting in 3rd. He's still got to make one more stop, and I'm assuming he'll probably come in at the end of this lap. Or he might hold up Kraft for as much as possible, and then probably come in at the end of that lap.
Yeah, but he's extended his stint, I think, beyond where I was expecting him to, certainly. He's going to put himself under threat from Sneaky and Santeri if he's not careful as well. So Felipe, if he is listening to the stream, he probably is, I think he should come in this lap around and then let Alexander Kraft maybe get onto the back of Nathan. It's still, what, 2.4 seconds between Nathan and Kraft. So that gap is not going to be condensed down anytime soon, even with Kraft's faster tyres and much fresher tyres as well. With Montana leading the way, Nathan there in 2nd is doing a fantastic job. He obviously is running no assists. I think Montana's probably running ABS, knowing him. He still leads the way. Felipe, though, is into the pit lane, so the man does listen sometimes to me as he's in the pit lane, and he speeds in the pit lane as well.
It was bound to happen. I can't lie. That was bound to happen. So, yeah, unfortunate for Nolan. But yeah, he's now got that another 5-second time penalty. He's having to serve 5 right now. I don't know if it's actually going to serve the full 10. Is it going to serve the full 10?
Yeah,
no, it just served the 5. So he's got another 5 that will be added on to the end of his race. Santeri's just coming across the line as well. Nolan's now going to drop back quite a hefty amount, even behind Larkin. So yeah, all that battling that Nolan tried to get involved with just didn't really work, to be honest with you. He tried, it just didn't work.
It didn't work indeed, and yeah, Felipe, I think now, with that 5-second penalty, he's nearly spun coming out of turn number 1 as well, on the panel break, I'm going to call it, in towards turn number 1. But yeah, he's down in 9th position, out of this running. Montana leads the way, Nathan there in 2nd, Alexander Kraft in 3rd. As it stands, Montana would be gaining 5 points over VSR. Now, I'm not sure how many points behind NSX were coming into the event. I think there were only 2 points behind. So, as it stands, if my calculation is right, and if people in the chat agree with me, I think NSX are going to win this by 3 points, I think.
Tell you what, keep rambling. I'll be able to get the results for yourself right now. Give me a minute. And I'll have a look as to how close it is.
Yeah, I'm thinking if it's 2 points from the last race advantage that VSR had over NSX, then it would be 3 points now, the advantage for Montana, because he's obviously gaining more points. Alexander Kraft, though, picks up the fastest lap of the race, and he is beginning to close in on Nathan. This is not a done deal just yet. The QVR man has to pick up the pace. He has to try and find something out of those tyres where the other guys aren't. Even with that low EOS that he's got, Montana's got more EOS than him, so Montana can easily pull away. And Nathan in behind is now coming under significant pressure from Alexander Kraft. So VSR really need to push Kraft as much as possible. Nathan still in 2nd position, but if there's any man that can bottle it, probably at this stage, it's probably Nathan.
Certainly could. No, he certainly could. So let's see if he's able to go ahead and do that. Kraft is as you say, now back within the DRS, if he's going to be able to jump up ahead of the QVR driver. I don't know, 4 more laps left to go, or just under 4 more laps left to go now, shall I say. And it's looking like it's only going one way, and it's looking like it's going NSX's way. But Kraft, he needs to start trying to get a bit crafty now with all of these moves that he's going to try and do with not only Nathan, but also with Montana, if he's able to gain onto the back of him as well with 4 laps left to go. 2.1 seconds separate Nathan and Montana, and only half a second separate Kraft and Nathan. This battle, I think, is definitely about to go down here, James, going down in towards turn number 1.
It definitely will. Kraft on the back of Nathan. Nathan has a moment, and actually Nathan is all the way to the pit line. I thought he was coming in the pit lane there. But now here comes Kraft on the back of him. This should be easy for the Alfa Romeo. Breezes on by the Mercedes. And that is VSR up to second. Nathan, though, is going to try and hang it in on the inside. There's contact on the inside and actually pushes the pass on him. He needs to let him through if he's not careful. Montana leads the way. Nathan there in second. Kraft now is going to try and find something. He can't, though. Nathan has that EOS advantage and the DRS as well up the straight in towards turn number 4. And it's still Nathan in second. Kraft there in third. But honestly, if I was a steward, I'd push that down into push to pass, and honestly, I'd swap the positions right now on track.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if Nathan's going to be able to do that. In fact, Kraft goes down the inside, down in towards turn number 7. Is he going to be able to hold that one on Nathan? Think he might just about, although saying that Nathan will have the inside for the double left-hander. Kraft, though, a switchback coming down the hill. Little bit of contact between the pair of them. Kraft still having to just yield the position down behind Nathan. It's now getting a bit aggro, as I was saying, James, and there's been another spinner for one of the McLarens. I think that is Ryan down in P10, unfortunately for himself. Could potentially now get jumped by Ollie down in 11th. But yeah, it's all picked up. It's all kicking off now. These, I think that's the only battle that's really sort of going on track at the moment is this battle for second. And what battle they're giving us.
What a battle they are giving us indeed, and Kraft now beginning to really approach the back of QVR Nathan. Nathan has got to weather this pressure, and he weathers it too much because he makes a mistake and he's in the wall. Nathan spins in the wall. In the end, that was his own doing. He made a mistake in the end. The way that Alexander Kraft got caught in the curb forced him off on camber to the right-hand side. Sadly, a little bit of contact between them both. I don't think there was anything wrong with that personally, even though the contact was made. Kraft had every intention to get the traction on the exit. He was going to get the job done. Nathan, I think he's corrected himself over much. He's gone to the left-hand side. Unfortunately, wheel-on-wheel contact, and Nathan sent round, and that is game over for Nathan.
Yeah, it's game over for him for sure. I mean, he'll still at least finish in third position, but this is where I really do need to get the standings done now to see what it's actually going to be looking like between NSX and VSR. If it finishes this way, apparently this could be very, very tight with these guys, so let me just focus on doing these right about now. I'll quickly go into battle though, because Neon and Zexa and Dark all relatively close with each other for that P13 spot. It's not over yet, because Dark's only just come out of the pits on a fresh set of softs.
Yeah, Neon, Dark is on that fresh set of soft compound tyres indeed. He's on the back of the TNR man for Bottle Job Racing there in 13th position. Dark there in 14th. Just to be fair, it's not entirely out of this either. Big breaking up to prefer a big lock up there from Dark in towards turn number 15. And now coming down the straight, this should be quite easy, you'd imagine, from the Ecos man on the back of the TNR man. On the run in towards turn number 1. Set of soft compound tyres against 11 Apple or mediums. You know which one I'd be on every day of the week. And that is Dark through into 13th. C3 there in 14, making it easy. Next up for him is Neon. He's only got one more lap to do because Montana has started the final lap of the race out in front, 3.8 seconds over Alexander Kraft, and he can argue that Montana had, without really breaking question with Nathan and Alexander Kraft right on the back of him, Montana has shown why he is probably one of the best on the PS platform and certainly one of the best in the event.
Certainly has, he certainly has, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when if he was to turn off ABS and line, then I feel like he could definitely have a good challenge within F1 East. Well, I say good challenge. I reckon he could be up there with one of the top PS drivers.
Shut the door on Alexander Kraft. He might be saying VSR who at this stage. Montana leads the way.
He would definitely have a decent chance of that. So I'm sure, as I said, I speak for quite a lot of other people that also say that. But as you say, we're at the final lap of this race now. Only half a lap left to go of the whole 24-hour event, James. It looks like it's going NSX's way.
It looks like indeed it is going NSX's way. That was a voice crack and a half. Goodness me, Montana in towards the right-hander of turn number 13. It was bound to happen after 4 commentaries in a row. Montana now in towards the final couple of corners. On the run towards 14 and 15. Stroll, by the way, is right on the back of Nathan, who has now forfeited that third position potentially. Montana, though, through the final corner. This one will be for Mads if he does take the race win. Montana to the line, wins in Bahrain from Alexander Kraft there in second. The VSR man put up a really good fight, not good enough in the end in the final event. Nathan is under pressure so much from Stroll, and it might be a drag race to the line between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes. Fireworks go off, but Nathan's just going to hang on to third. Slash there, I think, is coming around the final corner of the finishing fit. Sneaky's right on the back of him, and Sneaky actually makes a mistake, and Slash is going to consolidate that P5 finish. Sneaky there in P6 did well, actually, on his performance. Santeri there in 7th. Humberger sadly out of contention in that. Larkin there in 8th. Felipe there somehow is P9, even with a 5-second penalty. Ryan there is going to finish in P10 very soon. We've had Speed Gareth and Rennes come across the line as well. We wait for the rest to finish, but Ryan is going to take a top 10 finish for QRT. Only turned up the final 2 races of the event after, I'm led to believe, a few issues certainly on the QRT and many drivers possibly fallen asleep. QRT man there in P10. Ollie there in 11th, doing great. It actually jumps Ryan as a result of penalties. So Ollie there P10, Ryan there P11. Neon, Z3, Dark are coming next through. Jess is also going to come across the line very soon indeed. We wait then for Dark to come across the line. But Montana has taken the win here in Bahrain. Alexander Kraft in 2nd, Nathan there in 3rd. Dark, however, to the line, finishing in the end in P12. Neon there in P13. Z3 in 14th, as Dark has actually lost position to Neon, and Jess Gamer to the line will finish in 15th position. She's the last one to come across the line as the fireworks fly at the end of the 24 hours of F1.
They certainly do. They certainly do, to say the least. So, this is we're finally done. Finally done. And yeah, the standings, I can tell you right now. When I scroll all the way to the top of it, here we go. So, NSX versus VSR. NSX on 392, and VSR 390 points. So NSX won by 2 points.
Amazing. And honestly, they I've just knocked my other controller off. Absolutely deserve that. Honestly, Mads, I'm sure he'll be looking down on this and he'll be so proud of his team, so proud of Montana doing the night shift, doing the graveyard shift with that Blackheart obviously as his tag here for the PSN. Montana takes the win in Bahrain. In the end, it's a winning victory for NSX, and do you know what? They absolutely deserve it. I've never met such a great bunch of lads in all my life, certainly, of league racing. Absolutely deserve it. Congratulations, by the way, to VSR for pushing them so close. In the end, though, trumped by Montana, trumped, arguably, by the GOAT of the PS platform and the GOAT of the 24 hours of F1.
I kind of have to agree at this point. There's not really any sort of denying it, to be honest with you. So yeah, I kind of have to agree. But yeah, as I said, Montana took the win for the final race of the event, and what a way to do it. Alexander Kraft in 2nd, Nathan 3rd, Stroll 4th, Slash in 5th, Sneaky in 6th, Santeri in 7th, Lark in 8th, Felipe in 9th, Jolly in 10th, Ryan 11th, Neon 12th, Dark 13th, Zexa in 14th, Jess in 15th, Gareth in 16th, Renz Michalixi, and I can't remember who it was at the very back. I think it was Henry R, or unfortunately DNFing for the final race of the event. And yeah, I mean, that's all done. The final, well, I say the final, and not really exactly final, but we have gotten a couple more donations that have come in. Cone Racing League donating £15 as well. I say a couple more donations. That was the only other donation that has come in. £753 raised for British Heart Foundation, and £400 dead on raised for brain tumour research. So £1,153 overall have been raised. You're still more than welcome to donate. As I said, if you just click on one of the 2 logos at the bottom of the stream, then you are more than welcome to go ahead and donate your, as I said, I do appreciate every single one of you that have watched, every single one of you that has helped organise the event, that has driven in the event, even though sometimes you're a pain in the absolute arse. The game didn't really help it. I know it's just the whole crossplay thing. Wanted to try something. Clearly, it didn't really work, did it? So that's duly noted for next time, if it is to be the case. I will be completely honest with you. I think this might be the final one that I am actually going to be doing. To be completely honest, I'm getting tired, man. I enjoy hosting this event, but at the same time, just the amount of ag that goes into it, it can be quite a lot. So I said I feel like this is probably going to be the last one that I am going to do for the 24 hours of F1. As I said, though, I do appreciate everybody that has tuned in for the last 5 years of doing it. If anybody else wants to carry it on, they're more than welcome to do so. I'm not exactly going to turn it down. It's for all of it is for charity anyway. So if they want to, you're more than welcome to do so. I have also just seen a massive donation of £150 just come through. Who was that? Let me have a look.
It was Montana.
Was Montana. What a lad. What a lad. For Mads. £150. £903 raised for the British Heart Foundation. What a guy. Montana. Appreciate you so much. Yeah, I said there's not much else I can say. Jav as well. £38 for brain tumour research. Saying we had to hit that 400 somehow. Great event, guys. Kudos to all involved, even if I missed most of it being a drunk mess. That was actually to bring that up to the £400, sorry. So, Jav, appreciate you as well. Jess donating £10 to the British Heart Foundation as well. So, as I said, donations are still coming in thick and fast. So, I don't think it's going to be over even after the 24 hours of F1. But, James, have you got any sort of final thoughts regarding the 24 hours of F1 at all?
Honestly, I'd just like to thank every single person who has been involved in this event. Obviously, me included in the commentary team as well, but to all of the commentators for putting in their shifts. I know J. Cole is absolutely ill as anything, and he has still brought us great commentary, great streaming as well throughout. Obviously, a big thank you to everyone. Mr. Mark has just joined us there in the party as well. We will get, I'm sure, others in very soon, as is tradition, of course, in this annual event. But a big thank you to all of you guys as the viewers. If it is the first time you've ever tuned in to the 24 Hours of F1 event, thank you so much for being a part of it. Even watching does raise the cause, and at the end of the day, it is for two very important charities, British Heart Foundation and the Brain Tumour Research as well, and we cannot thank people enough. We know times are hard, we know times are tough, obviously, with the cost of living and everything going on, but to spare any amount of time watching, driving, being a part of this absolute event, even watching this event as well, big thank you to everyone who has been involved. You are the people that make this happen. League racing community, it is really rare that we get occasions to come together. This one is no exception, and this, honestly, will go down, I think, as probably one of the best 24 Hours of F1 events yet.
It will. As I said, I know that there were a few issues that went on at the beginning of the stream. I do also just want to give the biggest shout out to the SF1L boys, especially to Elliot. He's been helping left, right, and centre with all of the lobbies that have just been going on. And honestly, without him, I feel like we would have been stuffed throughout the whole of the event. He also made it so that we were pretty much almost bang on time. 15 minutes is what we got it down to after it went to about 45 minutes to 50 minutes at one point we were down on. So, yeah, again, I just massive shout out to the SF1L boys, all helping out for doing the hosting. As I said, to the organisers, to Gary Verstappen, to Mark, of course, who'll probably also say something in a short minute. I said to Elliot as well, and to Ash for the stewarding as well as also helping out with the standings. Yeah, I said to all the teams that are raced, every single team that raced, SF1L, Forest, Bottle Job, NSX, Humble Squad, Hamburger, Cone Racing League, Contest of Speed, CSL, the boys at Hasbullah's, Devoted Disciples, still probably the best name that we've had in the 24 Hours of F1, I can't lie. Olympo, NLR Esports, Esports Wales, QVR, QRT, Relentless, VSR, IRT, ERT, and League of Europe. Massive thank you to all you guys participating in the event. I'd say QRT. I would also say QRT. I did say them, but thank you for turning up for half of the races for the event, and all of the comms that did also participate. I said to you, James, to Dakar, to you once again, Mark, Ginger for the night stint with Nolan. Again, I do appreciate you two with that one for allowing me to at least get a bit of sleep. To Dylan, Killer, Packer, all made my life so much easier throughout this event. And I'm going to stop being such a soppy bastard. I think we need to invite Montana in, I'm not going to lie.
I just want to say, yeah, we do, but I want to say one real quick thing based on what you just said. All right, we've done this 4 years. This was the hardest year. And the hardest year for you because you had less help. So I wasn't around because of work. there's a lot. We were relied on like tried and tested people next year, and what Jake was saying there is we need more people. I'm going to put out a thing after this to say about suggestions and improvements, but also if you give those suggestions and improvements, I want you to back them up. I want you to carry them through. I want you to actually say any suggestion improvement you bring, I want you to try and take ownership of it. So if you give one, you have to come to the organizer team and say, this is what I'm going to own. That's the difference. You can't just go, this would be better, because we all know lots would be better with lots of different things. Don't just say what could be better, say how you're going to help do it. And that's the biggest thing. So next year, we want more people involved. We want people. The thing is, there's so many good people involved, like James, like Colin, and like the guys at Esports Wales, by the way, because they helped steward. Loads of people stepped up, and it was all a bit slapdash, all a bit last minute, and that's not through anything through Jaco. Jaco ran with this event, and everything that you see that was great about it was him. Everything that you saw was a bit slapdash was the rest of us, frankly. And we need to give him more support. I don't think this will be his last time, because I've said this before, but you need more help. So give the man more help. Make it better. Make it greater next year. And we're going to do big things. Because we have some great ideas, I promise you, but it's getting them into delivery. And that's the biggest thing.
Well, thanks for that, Mark, because, yeah, that was... It was definitely stress. I've got to admit, it was very stressful trying to get that all sorted out. Yeah, you are right. It's just a case of we needing more people to make the event go as smoothly as possible. The game working, that would be a massive start. However, that just doesn't seem to really happen at the moment, does it? So
yeah,
it's just trying to get that.
But do you know what? It don't work, and sometimes it's got little problems, but there's a lot of people that can bring a lot of good stuff. And I tell you what, I'm so happy. I'd have been happy with any winner tonight, but I think the fact that it's come from someone this event was raised in honour of two people, and I know how much this would have meant to Montana. And yeah, just want to say congratulations to him and throw it over to him if he's around.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it means a lot to me, sitting here in my playseat with the tears in my eyes streaming down my face. So this was a hard one, but we did it for Matt. It was more emotional than I thought it would be, but yeah, we gave it all, and without him, we wouldn't have been able to do something. And I'm really happy to give the charity something we can use to prevent stuff like that.
Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. Yeah, again.
But
what was you saying? Go on, Mark. Sorry.
Before, I want to try and lighten it slightly. How annoying is Raul Felipe?
I knew it. Oh, for fuck's sake. I knew it. I was like, let me pit one up later. All the 7, 8, and 6 guys in party. No, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, it made it more exciting. But he can fuck off.
No, can I tell you a little thing? I was in the same party with him, and he loves to cause you chaos, you know that. And then I said, behave to a degree, obviously, and because, and I said that the people are we're raising funds, and the reason why. He went, oh, but he still did his absolute best to make sure you felt like you deserved it, in his own little way. So even he was a bit of a fan of you tonight, which you might not believe.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's where we're going to have to call that there. I know the stream at the top left, it says 23:45. I don't think we can ramble on anything else for about 15 odd minutes. So, and at the same time, though, the actual stream's been live for about 24 and a half hours, because we did start the actual races late. So, yeah, it's about 21 minutes over. I appreciate everybody that has tuned in. I said that's donated. I've already said all of this, but I can't thank you all enough for what you guys are doing each year when we're doing the 24 hours. I said, for tuning in, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to raise any money for good causes and for the charities as well. So again, massive thank you to everybody that's donated, that's tuned in, that's spread it around the stream, and that's helped grow this community as well. Like Mark was saying, it's one of the only times that this league racing community can come together, and it works out a beautiful treat. Obviously, as I said, the start really didn't, but we got through it in the end. We managed to push through and made it work. So thanks to everybody that has tuned in, and more than likely we will catch you next year, probably. I don't know if I will, but we'll see. I might change my mind at some point. As you were saying, Mark,
You will.
It probably won't be the last. You never know, but I don't know. It's just more this how much this adventure's taken out of me. We'll see. But yeah, thanks to everyone that has tuned in, and we'll catch you next year for the 6th instalment of the 24 Hours of F1.